Welcome to Real Talk with a Vulnerable Angel and friends. I am your host, the Vulnerable Angel, Dominica May. What this stream is I just get together with my friends and have deep and vulnerable conversations. We get into those deep details. And and if you're joining us live, you get to ask us questions. If you want us to answer particular questions, go right for it. And today I'm joined by my usual guests, Mike and Sharad.
Hi, everybody.
Bonjour.
And we may be joined by somebody else in a little while as well, but I'll wait until he joins if that ends up happening. And we'll say hi to him then if he jumps in. How are you guys doing?
Good. Yeah, so far, so good.
Doing all right.
I've been experimenting this week.
Do tell.
With what?
Just with sharing different videos on social media, just curious to see like what kinds of attention I can get, and like what SEO keywords kind of things I can throw in to see like how it drives the algorithm to get views, I guess.
And what have you learned so far? What have you learned?
What have I learned? I think the algorithms these days are very focused towards driving my content and pushing it towards people who do not think the way that I do.
Interesting.
Let's put it like that. Yes. Just judging by like the people who comment on the videos, I've gotten way more engagement from people who are like, "You're an idiot," kind of thing. I mean, they didn't specifically say that, but it's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to me. For the most part, I don't respond to comments like that, but I appreciate the engagement because I think it helps drive and push my content out to other people.
Comment away. Yeah.
And it's made me wonder if like now maybe I should be making videos specifically to bait those kinds of people if it's driving engagement. I mean, the people on that side of the way that those people that think like that seem to put out baiting material to drive anger responses and stuff as well. So maybe I could do it from this side. I don't know.
If it works, it works. Any engagement is good engagement.
That's what they say,
Yeah.
That's what they say. But yeah, so that's been an interesting experiment to see what happens. Yeah.
What have you been up to, Mike? Anything fun?
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
Do tell.
So big news.
You're pregnant.
Big news drop. Not yet. I do have a food baby though. As of today's day. Yeah, as of yesterday. And I signed the contract today. My company, Pineapple Improv, is getting its own television show.
Wow.
No way. That's huge, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge. Look at you saying it so casually. Yeah.
Yeah, very excited about it.
Congratulations, man. That's a big deal.
So we're doing live tapings. And not only is it a live taping, but it's going to be live broadcast.
Wow.
Through a brand new streamer called Zeam. ZEAM. So I am spreading the word.
Definitely share links with me. I will add it to the description below once all things come through.
More information to follow, but our first episode is next month. So
wow,
that's awesome.
Get on it. Yeah,
good for you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I keep getting notifications for the videos that come out every Wednesday, and I keep not watching them. I'm sorry. I'm just waiting for mine to come up.
Watch them, don't watch them. I don't care.
As long as your notifications work, so great.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
How about you, Sharad? What's going on?
Busy, but in a good way. I just found out, unfortunately, my male German Shepherd, Mr. Vikram, unfortunately, he's got arthritis in his front left leg. So apparently, did you know dogs can do physiotherapy? I didn't. And
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, my vet recommended that. And also, we looked up at this website, at this physiotherapist center, animal physiotherapist nearby my place. They also do hydrotherapy for dogs, which is really interesting because that's what I did when I fell sick. And so I'm looking into that, and hopefully we'll get him back up and going because he was a police dog. So hopefully this will get him back up to his grouchy, normal self soon.
Yeah, I mean, this after the maggots issue.
Yeah, you remember, right? Yeah, exactly.
Has that been resolved at least?
It has been resolved. Thank you. Yeah. So for viewers who don't know, he had a bit of a skin issue because Vikram likes to sit in water that affects the skin. Thankfully, that's all been sorted, but now it's managing this, and hopefully that'll get him back to his normal self.
I actually forgot about the maggot thing.
Oh, there you go.
I forgot about that.
It was a very visual experience for me.
Oh yeah.
Imagine how I felt. Yeah.
Wow. We have a couple of viewers, it seems like. If you're just tuning in and you didn't join at the beginning, you are welcome to ask questions. If you want to get us some deep and personal questions to answer, we would love to answer them for you. If you just want to watch live and not participate, that's perfectly fine as well. All right, I guess I don't know what deck to start with. I probably should have asked that before we went live. What should we start with? Should we bring out this one again?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Do you want the word or the
I always like the prompt.
The prompt one. Okay. Prompt one. That Vices one was pretty good though.
Yeah.
Okay.
The what?
The Vices word prompt that we had. All right. A moment when you were totally gullible. You think of.
There's a moment when I'm totally gullible.
I feel like I have had a lot of these experiences, but from a while ago. I probably have had them recently too.
And these can be both positive and negative experiences, I imagine, in terms of gullibility, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Totally gullible.
I mean, for the game portion of this, it says biggest sucker wins. Okay, I've got a potential answer.
Start off, please.
Okay, so this is terrible. So my ex-husband was a master of future faking. And so one of the things that I guess got me to believe that he was a good partner to marry and get to be with was he's like, when my parents die, then we'll inherit this property, and we'll have all of this stuff and all of this kind of thing. And clearly I believed that we would have that kind of future. No. Obviously, I divorced him.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would put that into the gullible category.
I'll think of another one.
The devious miscreant category for him.
Okay.
So there's I don't have anything salacious or delicious to tell, but
any-ish.
When I was it's no secret that I'm into comic books and X-Men, and like X-Men have always been one of my absolute favorite comic book properties. And in 1992, was it 1992? No, had to have been 1990.
Wow.
I was in second grade. 1990. The kids at school, it wasn't hard to find out that everyone realized that I was so into the X-Men, like hardcore, big time into the X-Men.
Did you have the Wolverine hat?
No, I didn't have like any of the clothes or, ow! My cat is chewing on my toes right now.
Clearly no Wolverine regeneration. There you go.
He thinks he's grooming me, but he's just biting my toes.
He's just eating you, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so to gaslight me, the knowing that there was no truth to this anywhere, the kids at school made up this fantastical story that that Hollywood was making this incredible X-Men movie based on the well, I guess it couldn't have been in 1990 because the X-Men series hadn't come out yet. Doesn't matter.
Early 90s.
You know what I'm talking about. But the kids at school like really made me believe that like there was this X-Men movie coming, and every day they were like, "Oh yeah, we heard this bit of news about it," and I just kept like eating it up because I wanted it to be true so much. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we heard about this Punisher movie. Oh, they're gonna do a Punisher movie too." And they just kept adding on to all of this. And every day I kept coming to school, and I didn't know where they were getting their information. They were just straight up lying to me. But I was like totally taking it hook, line, and sinker. And then one day they were like, they just let it all out. They're like, "Ha ha, fooled you. We were just messing with you." And I was like, all of the hope and excitement that I had for this property that I was, as a kid, I was so all about finding out that it was all a lie, and all of that excitement, and just like, I felt terrible. And then in the year 2000, not more than 8 years later, guess who was laughing when X-Men came out?
When the actual one came out, yeah.
And everyone learned Hugh Jackman's name.
Yep.
Well, I knew Hugh Jackman before that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm very happy for you.
But Australian, so
Australians got to stick together.
I had seen him in at least one other film before that, because I'm pretty sure I saw Paperback Hero before X-Men came out.
Well, now I have to go watch it.
See if you can find a way to access it. I spent a lot of money to get it on Blu-ray because it's really hard to find.
Well,
but I was very glad.
Somewhere.
I was very glad that I for that purchase, because I had not seen it for many years, and really one of my all-time favorite Australian actors, Claudia Carvin, is in it as well. I love her in like everything that she does. So nice. It was good to revisit that film and those characters. Pretty sure she was the reason that I watched that film. Yes, Sharad.
Going along with Mike's superhero motif, this just kind of got back, just popped up in my brain. So when I was very, very young, I want to say, and to be fair, I still am this way. Superman is my favorite hero. And my mum, bless her heart, I remember one day out of nowhere, she hand-stitched this Superman T-shirt with a cape. And this blew my mind. And because it was handmade, like, this was even more incredible. And I remember my sister started fucking with me because she was like saying, "Don't wear this suit because you'll start flying and then you'll get in trouble and mum and dad will have to give you up for adoption." And I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, whatever. But she convinced me that the suit was real. So wow. What do you do when you want to, someone tells you that you want to test it out?
Right.
And as we know, one of Superman's abilities is flight. And I thought, okay, I have to get up to a relatively high distance to test this. So I was in a playground just down the road from where I lived, and I just scaled to the top of this this jungle gym. And I thought, okay, this should be quite high. It's about 12 feet, nothing too crazy. And I just literally just put my hands out and I just sawed off. And the next thing I know, like a tooth is missing. I've got like blood all over my nose. And I remember my parents just coming down going, what's wrong? I'm just going, I couldn't fly. The suit didn't work. I remember them both looking at my sister and my sister just going,
Did your sister ever get in trouble for that?
No. No.
Wow.
Because you never ratted her out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're alive.
Yeah. And to be fair, it was a life lesson, so.
I used to dream that I could fly. But I don't think I ever actually tried it.
Those are the best dreams.
Not yet.
No, I'm sure I have stories of when I was, people, because I was, I'm autistic and, we take things literally. So it's easy to get us to believe things because, we're honest people generally. And so to comprehend that somebody else might be being dishonest is hard to comprehend. But maybe my mind has just blocked all of that trauma. Like I don't have any specific memories of those childhood situations. I'm sure I had them, but I don't have any specific instances. Daniel has joined us.
Daniel, what's up, buddy?
Welcome. I'm going to start from his first one because his first comment.
It's a good one.
Because it's a good one. And if I can just, yes, this one. Okay. Right. So, holy angel cleavage, Batman. That can ravage my Gotham City any day. Thank you for noticing.
Dominica, we all noticed. It was, but Daniel was the only one with enough brass to actually
brave enough, because he doesn't have to show his face.
No.
That's the advantage of chatting rather than being on video. No, I appreciate it, because yes, it was intentional. I'm like, you know what? I was gonna go back to my original angel dress, the white one, and then I was like, you know what? I think I have something else white. Let me see what else I can find. And then I remembered this because I want 90s grunge cargo jeans a couple of days ago, and they're so comfy. And I'm like, I want to keep wearing them, so I'll just get a top to put over them.
Nice.
So I went with this, in part because, so one of the videos that I posted this week that I was experimenting with was also like me. I was wearing a very low cut halter top and very cleavage exposure. Very cleavage. That's not even a proper sentence.
Cleavage exposing.
Cleavage exposing.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why that is one of my most viewed videos that I've shared recently.
I mean,
even though it was me just making a joke that a lot of people did not appreciate because it was fed to people who didn't like me making fun of Elon Musk.
Engagement is engagement.
that's what I know. So anyway, I was like, sorry,
I heard basura.
So I thought maybe that's what I need to do to drive interest, just show off my cleavage and as I'm getting vulnerable in this live stream. So we'll see if that helps.
Hey, if you need me to run around in my underwear, let me know.
So I think it's the same if it's a man doing it.
Hey, you never know. It might create a new audience. Who knows?
It might.
Maybe. Is there?
It might.
I don't know. What is the YouTube policy on appropriate wear? Well, I know nudity is not, you're not allowed to do that, but underwear is a different thing. So it probably depends.
I have videos of me in my underwear on YouTube and totally fine.
Okay.
What have you been up to, Michael?
So, in fact, we're now in February. Now that we're in February, I need to share this video again because this one video is all about like how much I hate February. Like it starts off and there's like snow coming down behind me. I'm against like a television screen, like a huge television screen, but you can't see it because it's so zoomed in. So I have all the snow falling, and then my roommate was above me dropping these potato flakes, so it looked like it was actually snowing on top of me. And I have like this big heavy coat and hat, and I'm like, happy February, everyone. Oh, February, gotta love it. And I'm listing all the things that I love about February. And as I'm listing things, I realize I hate February. February is cold, it's dark, it's dreary. It's not even the good snow anymore. And I just start getting like so angry and everything. And then sorry, my cat is he's doing all kinds of stuff. Buddy, cords are not for chewing.
Apparently he doesn't like February either.
Yeah. And so finally I stand up. Hey, it's Sim!
Hey, Sim!
Hey, Mike! Hey, Sharad!
How you doing?
How's it going?
Good.
So I eventually stand up and I take my coat off and I call out the potato flakes and I stand up and I reveal that I'm wearing nothing but tighty whities. And that I was in front of a green screen the whole time. Nice. Sim, you came in right at the perfect
perfect timing.
Yeah, so that's, I like to share that video every February just because happy February, everyone. But
Mike, you'll at the very least share the video with me so I can add that to the description after the stream as well. I don't know if anyone ever actually clicks any of the links that I have in the description afterwards, but I like to have it there just in case.
Just in case, you got it.
Sim, welcome. Do you want to give a little intro? Because you've not been part of this stream before, but you have been of my Lego streams.
Yeah, my name is Sim, and I'm Dom's friend. I don't know what else I need to reveal about myself.
Fine, I will give you an intro. Sim is yet another stand-up comedian in Malaysia.
A very funny one.
Yeah, that's how we met through the stand-up comedy scene at One Mic Stand, same place I met Sharad. Yeah, so we all know each other. Sim and Mike have both been on one of my Lego streams. At least one of my Lego streams in the past, so they met previously, even though they do not live in the same place. Yeah. So we have a viewer, Daniel, who's been joining us for a few streams. So
Hi, Daniel.
I'm going through some of his comments at the moment.
Yeah, some very interesting comments.
We already touched on the cleavage one. Sorry, you missed that. Biggest sucker wins. This is in response to the question that we just answered.
Blowjobs against humanity. Where do you come up with these?
I don't know if humanity would ever reject blowjobs, to be honest, Daniel. I don't think they'd ever reject it.
Well, the people performing may not enjoy it.
Lies. I've never heard such a thing. You're just, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sharad, given the number of times that I've been rejected by men, I'm pretty sure that there would be men that be like, no, this is not.
No.
You make fun of my no every time. I don't even know.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
It's a pretty good nar.
Nar.
That's why I shared my kangaroo story in one of my videos this week. Mike was talking about X-Men. So X-Men, huh? Did you dress up like Jubilee and try to make fireworks come out of your hands?
No, but I have my very first cosplay was Cannonball.
Ooh.
Cannonball.
I hope we all know Cannonball.
Yeah.
I know Cannonball.
Great. My second X-Men cosplay was Colossus.
Oh wow!
Which also happened to coincide with my wife's very first cosplay ever, which was Kitty Pryde.
Wow.
So we went as Kitty
Cool.
Pryde and Colossus, and
That's
it is
cool.
the wallpaper on my phone. Let me see if I can
Pull it up.
Sim, have you ever done cosplay before, Sim?
Cosplay? No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's right. Not yet. Yeah.
Would you be interested in doing it?
I don't know. I'm a bit too old for it now.
No, you're never too old, bro.
Never.
Cosplay is one of the most inclusive spaces, I feel like, in terms of creativity and fandom.
Yeah. I don't know if the situation calls or is suitable for it.
That's
that is
cool.
Nice.
That's cool.
Mike,
That's very
you
cool.
and Kim are like the perfect couple.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really cool.
That's cool.
I need to find a partner like that.
I'm quite fond of her too.
Yeah.
All right. The original rumor was that there was going to be an X-Men movie and Glenn Danzig was going to play Wolverine. I don't know who Glenn Danzig is.
He's the lead singer for this band called Danzig. I'm sure you might have heard of it. They're quite famous.
That guy is full of muscles, right? Yeah.
He's jacked, and he's just absolutely ripped. And to be fair, prior to Hugh Jackman taking the role, and even in X-Men 1, Hugh Jackman was actually quite scrawny compared to how he is now. And, and Danzig was jacked. So who
look
knows?
at a picture of. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah.
He looks more like a Gambit than a Wolverine, though, in my opinion.
That's jacked.
I agree. Hey, it's the same exact photo.
Is it? Oh, my bad.
Look up a picture of Hugh Jackman in Paperback Hero if you want to see what he looked like pre X-Men.
When the first X-Men came up and Hugh Jackman was Wolverine, right? I was one of those early people who were like, nah, he's too tall. He can't be Wolverine.
I mean, technically, yes, but he was also very good as Wolverine.
Yeah. But we all changed our minds, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they called out his height in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Where like what the
comic accurate
height of Wolverine would have been. And it's so ridiculous.
He's meant to be like my height. You know, he's like, what, 5'3", right, in the comics?
5'2", yeah, 5'2".
Yeah, I think, 5'2". It's so...
That's my height.
It's comic accurate, short king.
It's way too short. Yeah. Imagine Danny DeVito as Wolverine, like...
Bit more...
I'll believe it.
Doesn't work.
But more... ripped. Show us on the Groundhog for February 13th.
That's a good one.
The story that I was telling right when you walked in. I have a video that I texted both to Dominica and Sharad of me. It's like a season's greetings, happy February, everyone. And then as I start listing off all these reasons why February is so amazing, I start realizing how much February sucks and how much I hate it. And so that's where I throw in the towel and that's it, I'm out of here. It's like potato flakes being snow on top of me. And so when I stand up to leave the room, you find out I'm wearing nothing but underwear. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Because I came in on the last part of it.
Right at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
And I brought Simran right in the middle, with that no clue. What's
I knew it was a good story, but I just didn't get the beginning of it.
Context is everything.
Daniel says hi to you, Sim. Is your last name
Simulation?
Yes,
my
it
name
is.
is Sim. My name is Sim Tong. So it's kind of like, because I went to the US as well, so I kind of like rearranged my name to make it like first name first, last name last. So actually my family name is Tong. And I really recently I saw someone else who did that, which was the CEO of TikTok. So like, because he's Singaporean, right? And we know how like names work over here, right, Sharad? So his last name is Chu. And so he rearranged his name so it's like Shou Zi Chu, to kind of like simplify it for Americans. But by now Americans also know how like Chinese names work, so they call him Mr. Shou.
Oh, that's funny.
I thought that was pretty hilarious.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
In my last job, one of my things that I'd like to do was try and be more inclusive of things. So when we had data sets that were using like first name, last name as like the field names, I'm like, but that's not very inclusive for Chinese names that have the reverse order, right? It's not the first name and last name. So I'm just like, given name, family name. Is that
yeah. No, and
yeah.
There you go. That's smart.
So I'm all about trying to be as inclusive as possible. But maybe that's gonna get me arrested in the future. I don't know with all this. Sharad, is that coming from Sharad?
Sorry.
I'm distracted, Sharad.
I was like, what
is that an ice raid?
Oh God, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
Could be if he was in the US, maybe.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Let's not do any foreshadowing, shall we say?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Dominica, you might want to start working on your American accent.
Yeah.
I know they're not going to care that I'm a US citizen and have been since very young. They're not going to care. But I'm white, so maybe I have that going for me.
There you go.
I don't know. But no, the accent thing is possible. I did see a video of somebody who I think she had a Russian accent, and she was talking about receiving a notice that she was going to get deported despite the fact that she was here legally and all this stuff, and going to have to leave her pets behind and all this stuff. And I'm just like, and she was caught up. Maybe her name was made it obvious that she wasn't. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go into all of that stuff. I don't want. Yes. We will. Okay.
I think you need a third type of stream.
I don't. Maybe. I need a politics stream at some point. I'm getting engagement from my political stuff. Daniel says rejection. Obviously, me talking about being rejected by men. Surely not. I'd even bring you a Hallmark card for the occasion. Roses are red, violets are blue. Make it hum like a didgeridoo.
That's nice. That's good.
Oh my God.
This is the thing. Okay, I feel like I get this a lot, that people do get surprised at the number of times that I've talked about being rejected by men, but like that has been my experience more often than guys being yes when I've been interested in them. Been more often rejections.
Sounds like a new one-woman show.
I agree.
Maybe. More often rejected too often.
I feel like those are normal odds for a guy. I don't know how it works for him.
Yeah, exactly. Normal, right? So.
No, but like just I've talked about having so many male friends and stuff, and I don't know how most of them, as far as I know, have not been like sexually attracted to me whatsoever. Not that I've asked outright most of them, but that's my assumption.
Just go up to the tell me.
Because if it's more often yes, then sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because the ones that I have been attracted to and said something to, I've been more often rejected than I have been something happening between us. So that's why I'm just like, I mean, there's obviously I'm not going to approach any of the ones who I'm not attracted to.
Yeah. Right.
So maybe that's it. I've definitely been approached by guys that I have rejected, but it's hard to find that mutual attraction and compatibility, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about OnlyFans?
That's why it's special.
What?
Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just making a dumb joke.
I want to hear the joke now.
No, I heard OnlyFans, and like clearly we've talked on OnlyFans before, but now I want to hear it.
No, that was it. It was a.
Have you thought about OnlyFans?
I'll go back to the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you thought about OnlyFans?
Although speaking of that, because what I did say when we had that conversation, I can't remember which one of you said this, but there was a comment that came up as like, well, maybe it wasn't just me that these guys were making comments to about, starting an OnlyFans. Maybe other women get that too. So I'm like, I'm going to ask about this on Facebook, and let's see if it is other women as well. No women responded. The people who did respond were my male friends, and they were like, things like, you need new male friends, and like, what is this bullshit kind of stuff. So
what's the OnlyFans thing?
That was the consensus.
Wait, Sim, what did you say?
What is the OnlyFans thing?
What was the OnlyFans?
What's the context? What's the
context? The context is I've had a number of male friends who have made comments to me about how I should start an OnlyFans. Now, to be fair, they could have been joking. But my internal interpretation has been, do you want me to start an OnlyFans because you think that's the only way that you would get to see me in a compromising position because you don't have the guts to ask me out on a date? That's where my mind goes with it. Not that, but the people who have made those comments have been more like my comedian friends, so I'm more inclined to think they were probably just joking.
Probably. Or are they?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I think OnlyFans has become like kind of like very common word in punchlines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next question.
Yeah.
Wait. There's another comment from Daniel here before I move on to another question. So if anyone ever complains in a restaurant that you're not using tongs, you can outwit them and go, I am a tongue. And have a twin. And we're a set of tongues. Do you have a twin, Sim? Or do you have any siblings?
No, I wish I had a twin. No, I do have siblings though. Yeah, I have a brother and two sisters.
There you go. Just go out with your brother and say, we're a set of tongues.
Yeah, 2 sets of tongues. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's right.
There we go. I'm sorry. I feel like I sidestepped Daniel's compliment.
Thank you, Daniel.
I appreciate it. No, I mean, I know there are a handful of people who are attracted to me. It's just that more often it's people that I'm not attracted to back. Let's just put it that way. All right, next question. I'm going to pull another one from this deck. Here we go. A moment when that jerk dumped you. And it doesn't have to be in a relationship sense. It says it could be a friend, a date, a coach. And the most devastated wins. So a moment when that jerk dumped you.
I broke up with a friend, so I was the jerk in that sense. But I also feel like she was the jerk. So I may have shared the story before. I honestly don't remember. once upon a time I had a sugar mama, and I've told the story. Yeah.
No.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, I haven't. Oh.
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought I had. So, through mutual friends, we ended up meeting, and I thought she was really cool. She had a really cool job. She worked in television, and she thought that I had a really cool job. We all know that I don't work at Lucky's Bar as a bartender, but for the sake of the live stream, that's what I refer to it as. So
it's a very cool job.
Yeah, she thought I had a really cool job working at Lucky's Bar.
Yeah.
And so she invited me to come out to Vegas and hang out with her for, because the television company she worked for was doing something at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. So I was like, they're putting you up at Caesar's Palace, free hotel, yes please, free entertainment. That sounds awesome. So I flew out and stayed with her in a room, and I was so naive. I'm deviating from the real point of the story, but I was so naive to think that, like, hey, this is just a friendly relationship. We're just hanging out. We're just friends. She thought there was something more there. And so she made advances, and I was like, please don't. And it was so awkward. Anyway, she still had this, it seems weird to use the word ownership, but I feel like there was some kind of, like, she felt ownership of me because she kept, like, buying me stuff and taking me to, like, big Broadway shows, like expensive shows, like the expensive seats and all this stuff. And I was very appreciative. Of course I was, but I kept telling her I can pay my own way. And I don't know, she was a really bad friend. And so there was this one instance, I'll leave out all the gory details, but long story short, that was the last straw for me. She told me that, this one opportunity was mine for the taking. And when I showed up to take part in this event, she gave the tickets to somebody else. And I was like, really? You treat me so shitty all the time, but you say, like, you rationalize that it's okay because you buy stuff for me? Like, I'm out. Hard pass. And I didn't even say that to her. I was just like, okay, and I cut her off. And then a couple of years later, she had an opportunity to meet one of my comedy idols, who has now fallen out of grace with the world, myself included, Mr. Bill Cosby. And so she was, it was before all the gross stuff, but she was like dangling this carrot of, hey, if you be my friend again, I can get you to meet Bill Cosby. And I was like, fuck you. No. So in that instance, I was
the jerk.
I was the jerk. It wasn't a jerky thing to do, I don't think, to cut her out of my life, but no, from her perspective, I definitely was the jerk.
Yeah.
But she's using her money to try and get stuff out of you or to get you to behave.
It was weird.
That's toxic.
It was weird. Yeah, she never really knew how to be a friend. So,
well, there are people like that. I'm sure there have been times that I've not known how to be a friend. I guess I have another friend instance, I guess, because I feel like I don't have any jerk breakup kind of thing, so I'll have to go with a friend situation too. And this is in Malaysia. This was me before I met Sim and Sharad. I'm pretty sure it was
good. So it's not either one of us. Great. Okay.
If it was, then you wouldn't be here. Come on, let's be honest. it was a comedian who does not do stand-up comedy anymore. So I don't think either of you would know who this is. Maybe, I doubt it. But there was this Indian comedian that I was hanging out with a bunch. He had like this cool facial hair stuff going on, and like when I went to India, or no, he was helping me like I think when I was trying to get visas to go to India. And then when I went to India, like he's like, make sure you take photos of the, you know, people that let you into the hotel, and and you know, that have the cool facial hair and stuff, and send me pictures. Like, so we had like this cool like banter stuff going on, and then I had developed an attraction for him, and I was trying to figure out if he was into me as well. And so clearly I had sent him some text messages that trying to see if he was into me, and he ended up just ghosting me and like unfriended me on Facebook and like all of this stuff. And I'm like, I had no idea specifically what happened, but you know, that was not cool. And yeah, so that's probably one of the reasons I have abandonment issues, and why my situation with my ex Lee was I mean, that was one of the reasons I did not want to get together with Lee when I got together with Lee, or like didn't want to be attracted to him because of that situation. I'm like, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to go after any comedians in my friend circle. I'm not going to do any of that. But yeah, it's, and this was like back before I knew I was autistic. I was clearly socially awkward, but we had like really cool conversations about, you know, all kinds of things. Like got really deep, and so it's sad when things work out like that for me. I'm like, I don't care if you're not attracted to me, but like at least don't be a jerk or just disappear on me like that. Just say something, you know.
How about you, Sam?
What was the question again? Okay,
a moment when that jerk dumped you.
Okay, in this one, I think I'm kind of the jerk, but I don't know. I'll let you guys be the judge of this one.
Okay.
So there is, I hope he's not watching this, because I don't think he will. Because
don't worry, there's one person watching right now. It's just Daniel.
Could be him, but like, but there is this
you
one.
You broke up with Daniel?
Surprise!
Yeah. No, it's not you, Daniel. But there is this one friend. Should I say?
Give them a
fake
name.
One of our friends in our comedy community. Okay. So I'm perfectly cool with him, and he kind of knows like some other friends who knows my wife. And so a few days ago, we had our Chinese New Year thing where
oh my goodness, it's a very recent situation.
all our friends, right? And this acquaintance, this friend, let's say. So I was like going through the list of friends, like, okay, I'm gonna invite this person, and Sharad, sorry, I didn't invite you, but next year.
It's okay, it's all right. Next year, there you go. Okay, cool.
Okay, so but like so I went through the list, and then I was like, oh, there was this person, but I better ask my wife, because I remember my wife saying something about how, because he mentioned like the mutual friend, you know, like the mutual friend's name is S, let's say, and he is so, you know, friends with S. And then like when my wife talked to S, she said, oh, I actually don't know him that well. So my wife is kind of like uncomfortable with him now. So I thought I better ask my wife, you know, as I'm inviting my friends, like particularly this friend. And she said, no, I'm not comfortable with him coming to the house. So I'm like, okay, I won't invite him then. And then I thought, I'm not good at lying. So I'm like, okay, what do I say? I'm just going to say, my wife's not comfortable with you coming to the house. She's like, no, don't say that. She said, so she says, just ignore his message. I'm like, I hate doing that. Okay, but so I just, you know how like the message comes in the phone and you can see the note. If you're looking at your phone at the right time, you can see the notification coming in and you can see at least part of the message. And I was like, yeah, I'm not looking at that message. So that's what I did, right?
I feel like this is a very Malaysian way of dealing with things.
Yes, it is.
I can concur,
very Asian, very introverted. So,
given how many times I've been ignored by people that I message in Malaysia, I'm just saying.
So that's what I did, So then this person, the day before the party, I think word got out to him when the party is going on and all of that.
No.
The day before the party, he sends me another message saying, "Oh, you're just ignoring me, you're ghosting me," and and then I'm like, kind of like saying like, "Oh, I'm so sad, like Uncle Sim is ignoring me," kind of thing, but also kind of saying it in a jokey tone, as far as you can interpret tone through messages, text messages. So I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just gonna read his message and then say like, okay, sorry, I didn't see your message, and then like and then so I said
that excuse. I'm sorry.
And then I said, yeah, happy
turned on.
Yeah, happy Chinese New Year, And then because his complaint was I didn't wish him Chinese New Year back. So I was like, okay, happy Chinese New Year. And then he's like, make sure you invite me if there's a party. Like the second reminder, okay? So I mean, I'm like, I'm gonna be like, okay, the gig is up. I'm gonna tell him the truth. I'm gonna be like, actually there is a party tomorrow, but my wife is not comfortable with you coming. So I'm just gonna kind of throw my wife under the bus for this one, but it is the real reason anyway, right? So I was gonna say that, but as soon as I said like, but I broke it up into two parts, right? So the first sentence, oh, actually there is a party tomorrow. And then he replied, he said, oh, but actually tomorrow I'm not free. He says, I'm going to Guardian's mic. It's so obvious who it is now. But like he's saying, I'm going to Guardian's mic. So
wait, but was it Guardian at your party?
Yes.
That's funny.
So he said, I'm going to Guardian's mic, I can't make it. So in my brain is racing and I'm like, oh, should I tell him that the party is going on from day till night? And then I'm like, nah, then I have to, go through the whole, my wife doesn't want you to come, and why give it to him and I take it back from him, right? So I'm just going to pretend like, yeah, many people are coming from 8 till 9, and I just left it at that. I didn't tell the other half of the truth, right? And so he, the next day, he was like, yeah, I wish I could make the party. I saw the photos. It was so fun. And I'm like, yeah. And no, actually, I think I just did send an emoji. I didn't really commit to any answer.
Like a thumbs up emoji.
But he would have seen that Guardian was at my party. Therefore, Guardian came before the mic, right? Yeah. So
yeah.
Okay, I hope it's
all good.
Dominica.
It'll be fine. There are, I know there are tense relationships with certain people in the scene out there, and everyone just pretends that things are
anyway.
fine.
Yeah. So if you are watching this, dude, it was my wife.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure that none of my Malaysian contacts watch this stream. I don't know if you've not specified whether or not this is somebody that I know, so I don't even know that part. It could be somebody that came up in the scene after I left, or even like, and I met people who came into the scene after I left, but like I don't know those people very well anyway. They're not watching my stream. even the people that I was friends with from back in the day, I don't think are watching my stream.
I think
so.
probably you might have met him, but I don't think you're close to him. I don't even remember if you met him.
We can talk about it later. Upstream. But that did remind me of a kind of, so back before I was like really close friends with very many people in the comedy scene, there was a time where I was like lamenting that I was not getting invited to stuff, even though I was like hanging out and all these people, like I was hanging out at the Mumux after One Mic Stand, but I was like, people aren't like asking me, inviting me to events. They're just like, going off and doing their own thing. And so people were clearly talking about stuff behind my back. And then it took one of the white comedians who was in the scene at the time to confront me and say like, oh no, you're just supposed to invite yourself to things. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know about these things if they're not talked about in front of me to invite myself in the first place? But also, like, from my mindset, it's like it's rude to invite yourself to things. So that's what I was thinking of when you said that he was basically inviting him, or like suggesting that you should invite him to the Chinese New Year celebration.
Yeah, I think maybe he thought like, better, just make sure I'm aware and have not forgotten about him in case I've forgotten, then at least like I would invite him. Yeah, maybe it was that. But I feel the second one was kind of.
It's hard when, like, what are you supposed to do if you really don't actually want someone to come, but there's the expectation that everyone's invited? Like, I've always struggled with that kind of stuff.
Sometimes you just gotta draw the line, and hopefully people are happy. You know how like Chinese weddings, people are always like, there'll be people complaining, hey, why didn't you invite me? And then there'll be people you invited, and then oh God, I gotta go to this thing because I know this person. So it's like you just draw your line and hope for the best, right?
Restaurant, yeah.
I don't know, Sim. I've not been to a Chinese wedding. I only got invited to Indian weddings.
Right. I imagine the same problem would apply.
All right, Sharad, your turn.
He
dumped you. A moment when that jerk dumped you.
Well, this one's tricky because so I'm in my freshman year in college, and I have a very, very good friend called Daniel, who is going to be like, we're in art class. We get along really well, and we're saying for the following year, let's be housemates because we get along so well. And we hang out, like, we kind of developed the system where we hang out every night, even though we're working. This is an art college, so while we're doing our designs, let's just take a break. Let's go outside to have one beer, have a smoke, and then come back and finish the work. So we had a good system going on. And one evening, I invite this lady out with us, and she and I had been on a couple of dates. Things were going quite well. And on the night out, I noticed that they had disappeared, and I thought, oh, maybe they just had a one drink too many. I'll just text them both saying, hope you got home safe, blah, blah, blah. No reply. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then the next couple of days, they both it's hard to contact them. And then I hear from another person who lived with that guy. He's like, oh, weren't you going out with that girl? I'm like, yeah, I guess. We're only for a couple of days, nothing serious. He's like, yeah, she's been like over here the last couple of nights. She hasn't left. And I was like, huh? So, no one would say anything. And but it got pretty obvious what was going on. And so I just messaged them, and I was like, listen, do you just want to meet up and talk about this?
And clearly they don't if they're just avoiding you.
Yeah. And it was just like, come on, guys. Like, like how old are we? And it just got really weird because like they just wouldn't talk about it. And then me and this girl, we had art classes together. And I remember she kept on coming up to me and just trying to talk, just like as if nothing happened. Oh, how was your day doing this? And I was just like, tunnel vision. I was like, yep. And she was looking at me going, why aren't you talking to me? And I remember looking back and saying, are you fucking kidding? You know, that kind of thing. And eventually my friend did agree to meet me in a public place during the daytime. I was like, I'm not going to fight you, bro. And he's just like, oh, I just feel more comfortable doing this. I'm like, okay. And I just wish, you know, I mean, come on, we're not kids. We're in our 20s at this point. We don't have to like worry about this. And it's just such a shame because, I mean, later on they ended up having a relationship, which was good for them. But I just wish that, you know, communication is key. And after that, it just made me think, communication, you have to just keep talking with your friends and don't sleep with your friends' dates. Might be a good one.
At least have a conversation about it beforehand.
At least have,
That's a good guideline.
Yeah. Just a little thing to kind of go by. But it was really funny because I think if a year later, my new housemate, who's fantastic, who now works at Marvel, so good for him. He and I were at a night out, and we bumped into my friend. And I remember like he came over and like he was like, "Oh, hey, haven't seen you in a while. How are things?" And I was like, "Yep, good." And I remember like he was like, "Oh, just so you know, me and so it did last." And I'm like, "All right, well, take care. Have a good life." And I turned around, and my friend who was with me, he was like, "Was that the same guy you were telling me about?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Holy shit, that was hilarious!" And like, yeah. So it was just one of those things. But it made me realize that one instance could have changed my entire college experience because, like I said, he and I were planning on moving in together, and we were good friends up until that point. So yeah, just don't sleep with your friends' dates. It's a good thumb to go by. So yeah.
I feel like we have so many stories on this live stream podcast where there are people that just can't act like fucking adults.
Yeah.
And sometimes those people are us.
That's true. That is true. we will own that shit though, you know. Like, you know, toy collections behind Mike. I would have the same if I didn't have this red sheet up behind me right now.
I see collectibles. I don't see toys.
A fucking angel outfit.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of comments from Daniel.
Yes, I was gonna bring those up next. I wanted to wait until we got through the questions. Okay. Here we go. Must resist singing Golden Girls theme.
Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful? We're all in different time zones and we all try to sing in unison and it doesn't work.
No, it just doesn't work. Yeah. No YouTube collaborations for us.
Yeah, we've got some interesting friend stories, don't we? When it's co-workers, they say don't dip your pen in the company ink. But if it's a fellow comedian, would it be don't buckle where you chuckle?
You're gonna write that down.
I feel like that's really hard to avoid. There's a lot of comedians that sleep with other comedians.
I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, there are comedians who do comedy to meet people, you know. So.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what my ex's situation was. In part, he wanted to get women
and get married. Yeah.
That's how I met my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's just hookups, but sometimes it's dating. Yes, it can get awkward, but maybe it's different because it's not like an official workplace, so there's not like there's an HR person that you can go to.
So at the theater where I taught, we didn't necessarily have an HR person, but the general manager and the director of classes, they were very vigilant about that kind of stuff. So make sure you keep your hokey pokey to yourself.
In a theater, especially. Oh my goodness. In theater situations, I feel like it's different than like if it's just part of the stand-up scene, because theaters do have rules, especially about like if you're a teacher, don't hook up with your students. Like that's a big one. But that's rampant. It's rampant.
We didn't have that rule before Me Too. Like that only became a rule as a result of Me Too.
Yeah. I have a former improviser, someone who's still an improviser, but a former fling hookup, and he was someone that absolutely got with a number of his students.
Oh, we all know that person.
There's a lot of those. That's what one of the tropes that is used in that improv film.
Don't Think Twice.
Yeah, Don't Think
Oh,
Twice.
yeah,
that one. So when I watched that around the same time that I was hooking up with that particular improviser, I was like, like I want to know all about that. I was not one of these.
So you were Mike Birbiglia.
No. I was sleeping with a Mike Birbiglia type of person.
Hey, Dominica, can I give you a little advice?
What's that?
Don't fuckle where you chuckle.
I am hopefully not going to do that from now on. Look, I downloaded a dating app specifically for neurodivergence yesterday because it was advertised on my Instagram feed. So I've started checking that out, and I've been having some back and forth with somebody on there. I'm not cool. Physically attracted to this person, but it's getting Daniel. Me out there.
Come up with a rhyme for that one.
Zing.
Wait, which part? The neurodivergence dating app?
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to at least put myself out there more, and we'll see. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know.
No need to be a virgin when you're neurodivergent.
Nice.
No, I mean, or rather, most neurodivergents are also neurodivergents.
Oh!
What?
Could we have that on a business card? That'd be pretty good.
Neurobivergence. I don't know. It's muddled. It's muddled. We'll workshop it. What else is Daniel?
All right, here we go. Sounds like the name of an X-rated buddy comedy for swingers. Pull out party. My wife.
That was
my wife doesn't watch
the Chinese New Year party. Yes,
that's pretty good. I like that.
Yep, that will work for both situations.
Literally.
I feel like that was kind of throwing your wife under the bus with that, though. I feel like that's I think my ex-husband was probably a similar kind of thing of what your wife said in situations that he didn't want to see people. He was like, don't, like, because my ex-husband was like, I don't want your friends to hate me. And I'm in my head, I'm like, well, don't do things that make them hate me. Like, how do you expect them to like you if you never come to anything for them to meet you?
I just hate that situation though. Like, it's like, okay, just come up with an, like an explanation. But then I'm like, okay, but if I come up with this explanation, there's going to be more questions. But she doesn't think about that. So I'm like,
yeah. No, I prefer absolute honesty. Like, if somebody hates me, I would rather know, so I don't put any effort into making an effort with them. Like, if I know that you don't like me, great. I can do my best to move on, or like, okay. No,
maybe you should consider living in New York. So you always know where you stand.
Everybody hates everybody.
Everyone hates you. Yeah. I'm walking here.
So what you're saying, Mike, is that if I relocate somewhere, I should be relocating back to New York and not back to Malaysia, where nobody tells me whether I stand with them.
Mm-hmm. If somebody doesn't like you in New York, guess what?
They'll tell you.
Pretty quick.
About it. Yeah.
True.
I'm trying to think of situations. I feel like there's been times that I've brushed off people. And there certainly have been, and it's if I'm not making an effort with you, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't like you. But if I forget to reply to a message from you for a long time, that might mean something.
No, I think it's fair. I think sometimes if you're not making an effort with somebody, it could be just you have had a day where you're just tired and you don't deal with anyone, no matter how nice they are.
Life happens, man. Yeah.
What was that, Sharad?
Life happens. I mean, I think we have to give everyone the benefit of the doubt where we don't know what's going on with XYZ person. So you have to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Well, also, let's be honest. Various people in our lives take priority. If friend XYZ, let's call him Joe, let's just say that, I don't have an opportunity to respond to Joe because I'm responding to this person and I'm responding to this person and I'm responding to this person. And I also have to take care of myself. Mm-hmm. And I just don't have time for Joe today. And I don't have time for Joe tomorrow. And then before you know it, it's Joe is out of sight, out of mind. And now months, if not years go by. Joe might be thinking, that darn Mike.
He ghosted me. He hates me.
I asked him what he wanted for dinner. He never got back to me. Prioritize stuff too. So it's not. I rarely take it personally unless it's it also depends on the relationship that you have with a person too. Are you typically close with someone and then they don't respond? But also, why didn't they respond?
No,
we're a complex bunch.
Absolutely makes a difference on what your relationship is with the person. So, Zach didn't show up last week, even though he was supposed to, and he hasn't responded to any of the messages that I sent him since then. But I don't think that means that he hates me.
No.
I think he's just been busy because I know he's a busy guy. And at some point he will reply. And
come on, Zach.
But there's been situations where it's my anxiety will get to me sometimes. And it's if I have a strong, what I think is a strong relationship with someone, and then they don't read my message, but then don't respond for at all. I'm just did I do something wrong? And they just don't want to tell me about it. What did I do? And I start ruminating on that. And what could I have done? But it really depends on how tenuous that relationship might be, I think. How important the relationship is to me as well. How much have I been relying on this person? Just thinking back on when I freaked out when Lee ghosted me the first time and how hard that was. But most of the time, I'll move on. I have a lot of other friends now. I don't have time for people's bullshit.
I have to give also a little bit of leeway for different people look at text messages differently. Some people reply immediately and they expect everyone to reply immediately. Whereas some other people, they treat it like email or reply once a day. They look at it twice a day. Yeah.
Will only reply when they actually have some time or availability to reach out and connect. Calvin, my friend, our friend Calvin, some of our friends, Calvin, when I reconnected with him a couple of years back, at first I was kind of a little bit anxious when he started delaying when he responded to messages. But over time, I sat back and I didn't send anxious messages, which is like how I was feeling, and just waited until he did reply. And that consistency, even though it took a while, that consistency over time helped me get comfortable with the realization that, he will reply when he's available. And so that kind of situation has helped me a lot to move past my anxiety of situations where people don't respond immediately, and help me get used to being okay with also not responding to people immediately. Yeah.
This seems like a good break time for me. My cup is empty. So I'm going to go refill, and I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
Enjoy.
I will pull up another comment from Daniel while Mike is doing that. Morgan Freeman voice. Either of you want to do a Morgan Freeman voice? Or you want me to try and attempt it?
Go for it, Sharad.
And that was the night Sharad learned that it was not always bros before hoes, but sometimes the bros are the hoes. Also, Visa card. It's everywhere you want it to be. Nice. Good.
Wow.
That's very, very inspiring, Daniel. Thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry you had to deal with that. That must have been really hard.
Yeah, thanks. It was difficult because obviously it's the undeniable, it's the unwritten bro code, right? Like where little things like that. And it was very, very painful because obviously, let's say if it was a drunken thing or whatever, things weren't that serious, it was fine. But me and that girl in question, we had gone out several times and smoochy and what have you. So and this guy was someone who I planned on moving in with. So it was like this huge kind of shift because now I had to readjust everything. But I mean, but in the end, it turned out great. I ended up moving in with a really great guy the following year, and we became even closer friends after that. So
that's great.
It all worked out. It all worked out.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've ever had a situation like that where somebody that I was dating ended up with a friend of mine. That's so awkward.
It is, yeah.
But it reminded me, and I thought about this before when you were talking about the story, and so it's crossing my mind again now. It reminded me of when my ex-husband and I, just before we decided about being polyamorous, and but we were talking about, we had started to open up our relationship, but we hadn't been moved into the whole relationship with other people thing. He was like, he needed to sleep with other people. This was his excuse. I was too depressed to sleep with him at the time. So, and he was like, but my sexual needs are not getting met. And I'm like, have this really low self-esteem right now. And the only thing that can fix it is me getting to sleep with other women. And so I'm like, I guess if that's what you need, then you should go and do that. The situation was that he went on a work trip to somewhere, I can't remember where, but while he was there, he met this person at the conference, and they hit it off. And then he told me like he wanted to like hook up with her, and I was like, or like he was interested in her or attracted to her or whatever. And I was like, well, if you're going to do something, like talk to me about it beforehand. And then he went and slept with her and then told me about it after the fact. And I'm like, what happened to talking to me about it first? Like, so that kind of set things off on a like, make decisions and then seek forgiveness later rather than talking about it first and making sure that I'm comfortable with it. So as you can see, one of the many reasons why I would prefer to do monogamy now rather than polyamory. It was not a good situation. But that's he ended up starting a relationship with her. And so that was the reason that that we became polyamorous, is because he wanted to have a relationship with her. He didn't want to just hook up with her. And they were together for like 4 years. And she's one of the people that I reconnected with recently, because she's on my side now. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to pull up another question, unless we have any other audience questions. Feel free to drop some in. All right. A moment when you finally...
This might be my last one, though, because might have to
go.
take care of
That's
lunch.
fine.
Yeah.
That's all good. Whenever you need to go is fine, Sam. A moment when you finally went for it.
What have you got, Sim?
Moment when you finally went for it. Is it all about relationships or?
No, anything.
Anything.
So, like, you're a job that you were wanting to go for, creative pursuit, like anything.
How you became a renowned Malaysian comedian might be a good one.
I started a podcast recently.
Really?
Yeah. It's called Uncle Sim Bores You to Sleep. And the idea is I like to listen to podcasts when about to fall asleep. And I don't know, it's like I tried a whole bunch of different ones, and then I realized like, there was one wasn't really a podcast, but it was like one specific video called Joe Pera Talks You to Sleep, and I was like, this is perfect. I'm gonna do exactly this. And then that one, like, it was great. I like Joe Pera. He's very funny, and the problem is he had background music in it, and that kind of like just kept me awake. Like, it didn't work for me. So I was like, okay, like little things like that. I was like very specific. I'm like, okay, mine's not gonna have music in it. Mine's just gonna be. And also the other thing I wanted to do was like, I'm just, I mean, I write jokes for for stand up, but I feel like it's always me sitting down, trying to think of what's funny. Is this funny? Is this funny? Trying to find something that's funny, and it's like kind of all over the place. But then I find that I need something else other than that, which is like all the thoughts that are in my head that are not necessarily going to be useful for comedy and not necessarily going to be funny. But I still need to kind of talk to someone about it. And I find like the best, in my experience, the best people to talk to are strangers, because they can't talk back. So I started a podcast couple of weeks ago. I think like sometime in December, and I haven't done one recently, and I'm gonna probably record one today for the 6th episode or something.
Cool, man.
Yeah, just a place to kind of think aloud, but also kind of like, if it's boring, I don't have to apologize, because it's supposed to put you to sleep.
It's in the title.
Right?
It's in the title.
Clues in the name, right? Yeah.
So I'm very glad I kind of like did it. And it for the longest time, I had the idea and I didn't do it. And then when I talked to another comedian, Jen Han, he was like, oh, you should totally do it. And not only should you do it, you should put no effort into it. And when he said that, I feel like, okay, that I can do. Put no effort into it. That kind of gave me the, that kind of gave me permission to give myself permission to just try.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool.
So hard to get off your ass to just start when you want it to be good, and you don't think it's going to be. Like giving yourself permission to fail, or giving yourself permission for it to be crap. Like I mean, this episode,
it's very important.
This is episode 11 of this live stream now, and I still don't have very many viewers. I love that. This is great that Daniel this is his 3rd time watching and commenting, so I'm like, yay, but one viewer who keeps tuning in. But like it's you got to start somewhere. Like, you don't know who's going to tune in, and even if nobody does, I just love having these conversations.
Yeah, we're still having a great conversation.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. As long as you're getting something out of it, I think that's what matters most. Yeah.
Can you read the card again for
yes,
Mike?
I will read the card again for Mike. A moment when you finally went for it.
Has everyone else gone?
No. So you can. I'm just making sure you know what the question is, so you can have a think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Time when I went for it.
Do you have
Sharad,
an
you got
answer,
something?
Sharad?
Oh boy. I think that's tricky, actually. I think it was this. Okay, for mine, mine probably started at a really young age. As I think I might have told Dominica and Michael. I don't know whether I've told you, Sim. My parents are both medical doctors. So and obviously coming from an Indian background, you're either an accountant, scientist, or medical officer usually.
Yeah, professional.
Especially I'm like my family's from that generation, and it was. I mean, I have an older sister. She's 3 years my senior, and she immediately knew that she wanted to get into law. So my parents were like, "Off you go, off you go." And so they put on to me, okay, like since she's doing that, you're going to do medicine like us. And I was like, like I had no inclination towards sciences, math. I had all what F's and E's. I think I was lucky. I got 1D. That's how bad I was. Yeah, and you think I'm exaggerating? I'm not. I was in the lowest class for maths and science. I think in my school, and I just couldn't do it. And but the one thing we did realize, if we looked at my other scores, particularly towards the art subjects, I was excelling. And so my parents, bless their hearts. I mean, at first, like especially my dad was like, "All right, this is what you're gonna do for the rest of your life," and you do it. And they couldn't understand, why can't you do this? And I was like, no matter how much extra tuition they signed me up for, the scores did not change, until they actually started looking at my art scores, my arts and humanities, and they were consistently high. They were all A's. And they were like, I remember even my dad, and I remember him just going, okay, so you're not a complete idiot. Just looking at the thing, he was like, okay, so I actually remember this word for word. I still remember this. And I remember like him looking at my mum and just going, okay, so we can't force the kid. How about we just push him towards what he likes? And they actually asked me, so what do you want to do? And I went, I like writing. There's because obviously with science, math, A's A, B's B. There's no other interpretation. So I did English with writing, and I excelled. So this one time I actually thought, okay, I can go for it. Let's go for it. So, and thankfully it worked out. So that's one of the things that I learned, that no matter how much people pigeonhole you into something, you just got to go with what you want to do, because otherwise you won't be happy. And even if you do something else, you might not even be successful at it. So might as well do what you love.
Yeah. I love that your parents were so supportive of you with that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not early on, but like eventually they got there, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I remember thinking, like at first they were like, no, this is all you're going to do nothing else. But then when they actually got when I explained to them, they were like, no, but keep trying, please keep trying. And then when they saw my results, and with the positive results, they're like, okay, well, we can't deny the reality, right? So let's just push him to what he's good at.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mike has a cat. How could we have a conversation now?
He's a constant visitor on this podcast.
Yes.
Nice. What's his name?
His name is Brazos.
Mm-hmm.
Brazo.
Anyone watches Only Murders in the Building, he is named after Steve Martin's character's character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sim, do you have any pets?
No. My son seemed to be pretty allergic to, as far as I know, like furry dogs. Like every time we go back to my my brother's house, and my niece has a dog, and then his nose would be runny.
Ugh.
And then the next day he'll be fine. Yeah.
That probably indicates allergy. Yeah. I was just thinking, you guys travel too much to have pets anyway.
Yeah. Sometimes it's better. My wife has a lot of plants though. So I sometimes she'll complain. She's like, "Oh, nobody watered my plants." I'm like, "Yeah, you're supposed to do that."
That's funny.
Should I bring up a couple of Daniel's comments before we
Sure.
get to our answers, Mike?
Yep.
So I think this must have been in response to something I'd sent. There's a song by Breaking Benjamin about that. My polyamorous friend, you've got me in a mess of trouble again. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not familiar with the song, no, but polyamory is an interesting thing. Oops, accidentally double clicked on it. I feel like that should be a motto for India. If the caste system doesn't decide for you, your parents will.
Yep. Yeah. Very true.
All right. I do have an answer to the question of a moment when I finally went for it.
Yeah.
And that would be the moment that got me to decide that I was going to end my marriage.
Oh, okay.
Now we're getting to the juicy stuff.
Yeah, I want to hear this one.
I haven't told this story publicly before. I've kind of like I've told people here and there, but there's been a lot of things about my marriage that I've hemmed and hawed about whether or not I should be sharing stuff publicly. And now I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna talk about it. Like, my ex-husband's not watching these streams. If he was, I'm sure he'd have something to say, but he's not. I don't have enough viewers to to suggest that he has been. So the moment that made me decide was, okay, so he had started this stupid nonprofit organization and decided he was going to try and get grant money to pay himself so that he could do this. So he wasn't working and earning an income, and he was like, I was working as a tour guide, so my income wasn't very much, and he had received a severance from his previous organization that he worked for, and so we were kind of living off of that. And my income was not paying for our living expenses. His severance was paying for that. But it got to a point where he was, that severance money was dwindling, and he was starting to freak out, and he was not living up to what he told me about getting a real job when he wasn't making money doing his nonprofit. And then he was like, well, maybe we should get a tiny home to take out a loan to put a tiny home in the backyard that we can rent that out and we can use that for income. And I'm like, I don't want to get I'd already was like, I'm not happy in this relationship. I don't want to get a fucking loan with you to buy a tiny home in my backyard that I don't want to have. But, I'm just like, well, at least look into the legality of it. And it turned out it wasn't legal to do that in the place that I live. But he kept insisting of trying to figure out a way to make it work. And that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I was like, I'm like, stop trying to fucking pressure me into doing something that I've already said no to. Like, just get a job, get a real job. And yeah, so that was the start of things. And then there was another, following on from that, we got into an argument where he was threatening to divorce me, and I spat out at him, "You can't afford to divorce me." And then that's when it hit me. That's when it hit me. I was like, "Oh shit, he can't afford to divorce me. I can win this." Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was my moment.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, the vast majority of my life has been a series of I'm just going to go for it kind of moments. So I'm having a hard time picking any one out. Because that's kind of, I mean, that whole carpe diem, seize the day. Like, we're not going to be around forever. So, I mean, that whole mindset informs a lot of the decisions that I make. So, I mean, this seems as good of a time as any to plug my television show that has yet to air.
Yes.
Sim, earlier on in the stream, I shared that yesterday we made the handshake deal, and today I signed the contract to get a television show for my.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, and we're just going to be doing improv live on a brand new app called Zeem. It's going to be live streamed as well as have like. Yeah, I don't know what all the licensing deals are, but there's something there. But yeah, anyway, so it's just, nothing happens unless you go out and take a chance, take a risk. And I mean, that's my newest thing. But this also goes all the way back from when I was in high school. And I wanted to join the track team, but nothing seemed appealing to me. And the only thing that I thought sounded cool was being a pole vaulter. Because when else am I ever going to, in my entire life, when am I going to have a chance to say, oh yeah, I used to pole vault? Nope.
I had no idea.
Except for this one. So I became a pole vaulter when I was in high school. Just... Yeah, I love that whole concept of just, if you don't take a chance, then nothing risked is nothing gained. So,
how difficult is it to learn how to pole vault?
To learn how, it's pretty simple. But to actually do it. It's a very different skill set.
I have this massive fear that, when you're doing the run up and then you pull it down, you put it down to elevate yourself, my fat ass will just break the pole and I'll just land back down. I think that's my biggest fear.
So poles are rated for weight. So you have to get weighed every day before you use the pole that you're going to use, just to make sure that your weight hasn't fluctuated enough that it would warrant a different pole. And they're graded in 5 pound increments. So
can you be too light for that pole? You can be too light for it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
If they're
interesting
250 pound rated poles. I don't think there's 300 pound rated poles, because getting someone who's 300 pounds up in the air, that takes a lot of force. But yeah, I think the poles go all the way up to 250 pounds. So if you weigh 150 pounds and you're using a 250 pound pole, there's no way you're going to get it to bend, because you don't have the weight to make that work. No matter how fast you run, and no matter how good your technique is, you just don't have the body mass to get it.
It is supposed to bend first and then shoot you up, right?
Yeah. So the idea
got an extra pole vault back there.
Or something.
I have a pole here.
There's a pole.
I can mention it. There you go.
Well, I'll just use my finger. So, the pole is like this, right? And then when you plant, you want the pole to bend at 90 degrees so that it shoots back up. And while it's bending, you do kind of like this tuck underneath, and kick your, it's a whole technical thing. I'd have to physically show you, but
we'll do that next week.
But,
I was gonna say that's the next video for you to share to YouTube. In your underwear. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I freeze, or did we all freeze?
No, it's just you, bro.
We're okay over here.
Lame. Oh, I think my entire computer froze.
No,
Oh,
but
no.
we can still see you.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
just give it a bit. Give it a bit.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
give it a bit. We can still see. I feel like I have a similar life experience of the moments of going for it all the time. I have
You're a pole vaulter too?
No. But like, I feel like a lot of my going for it stories I've already talked about in one way or another in past streams, so that's why I went with that. The one with my divorce was the first thing that came to mind that was completely different from anything I'd talked about before. Anyway, so it looks like Mike ended up disappearing. Anyway, he'll
come back in. No
come
worries.
back.
Sharad, you notice how like for Asians it's like the go for it moment is like, oh, that one special moment, whereas for the American and the Australian, it's a series of go for it moments like that.
I'm sure there are a lot of Americans who don't go for it though, right? Like,
sure.
this is. It just so happens that Mike and I have a good history of doing things.
I think that's amazing.
Being creative people, that's kind of
I really
what
respect
you have
that.
to
do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's definitely a cultural thing as well, though, isn't it? Because obviously, let's say with Western audiences, you're almost ingrained into society to go somewhere and like from the family home, welcome back, and to kind of achieve and do your own thing. Whereas with Asian societies, it's very familial, it's very hierarchical. So in some sense, for us, like from a very very young age, we're pigeonholed, and like this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. This is your trajectory. So for us to kind of defy the norms, it's like this huge no-no.
Yeah.
Sort of. It doesn't matter with your gender, your race, religion. It's definitely a subculture kind of mindset that if you're disobeying this, it's like.
That's why there is still a very small, tight-knit stand-up comedy scene in Malaysia. And the only one that the world has ever heard of is Ronnie Cheng, who didn't even get his feet wet in the Malaysian comedy scene. Because he started in Australia, right? Before coming here. Yeah.
But good for him.
He loves Malaysia though. He kind of didn't grow up here, but he kind of loves Malaysia. I don't know. I don't know why.
Did he grow up in Singapore and then move to Australia? Or he's got family.
I think he had a few years in Johor Bahru, maybe.
I think it was Johor.
Yeah, but like after that, he went to Singapore for school.
Next question.
Well, Sim, you said that you.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go and check on the family. So, but I did have a lot of fun. Thank you for sharing all your stories with me. I really enjoyed this thing.
Thank you for joining us.
You should come back often if you have time, Sim.
Yes, please.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Mike, and congratulations on
thank you.
The latest Go For It. All the best. And Sharad, see you soon.
Next
offline,
time,
hopefully.
Next time, invite him to your Chinese New Year party.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Ironically, I'm the friend that Sim was talking about. So
he did name him S. So
he was just being very, very polite for early.
Wait. No, S was the mutual friend.
Oh,
with my wife. Yeah.
Sure. It was actually me.
But anyway, Okay, I'll see you guys soon. Right.
Bye.
See you, Dom.
Bye. Daniel had a comment for you, Mike. I was waiting until you came back from disappearance. So an interviewer. So, why did you become a banana pole vaulter, Mike? Well, the thought of reaching new heights seemed appealing to me.
Shame.
You got better jokes than that. Come on, do better.
All right, next question.
Next question.
Ooh. A moment when you got busted.
Oh, I got a good one.
Most guilty wins if you want to do the play part.
The game part. So we had somewhat recently gotten a it was like the family computer, you know? And the family computer, I think we all know where this is going.
Yeah.
The family computer was in, it sounds weird to say it was in the dining room, but it like the layout of our house actually kind of made sense for it. So whenever my parents either weren't home, my brother wasn't living at home anymore. He'd moved out. And it was just the three of us. So whenever my parents weren't home, or when I knew like 100%, like either they were upstairs or like they had already gone to bed or whatever, that's when I would start like looking for porn. And
back in the day when people only had a shared computer, just in case we have any Gen Zs who wind up watching this later, that we didn't have our own machines back then.
Back in the day, it was in a communal space, one computer for everyone to use.
Yeah. So I knew enough how to cover my tracks to make sure that like what I was searching for and seeking out wouldn't be detectable from my parents. So I would always go in and clear the cache. Or the cache or whatever it is. So I would clear the cache. I would delete browser history. But at the time, there wasn't a toggle switch or like a little button to say clear history. You
had to do it manually. Yeah.
You had to do it manually. You had to go in. So like all the cookies
were
saved in a folder that were buried. It wasn't an automatic thing like it is now. So you actually had to go into the hard drive and find the folder that held the cookies, and then find the folder that had like all the porn sites on it, right? And so you had to transfer that to the recycle bin on your computer and then empty the recycle bin. Empty it all. So I had done all of my due diligence and I deleted all the browser history, cleared the cache, whatever. But the cookies I put into the recycle bin, but I forgot to empty the recycle bin.
No.
Yeah. And so the next day, my mom was on the computer and she uses the computer for work. And so she's, working, blah, 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 whatever. And then, I'm in the living room or I'm in the family room watching TV. She's in the dining room working. And at one point she calls out to me and she goes, "What is this?"
Michael?
Like, what is what?
Michael?
And she goes, there's something weird in the recycle bin, in the trash bin. And I'm like, what do you? And instantly that hot sick like envelops your neck and like the goose pimples, and you've been caught red-handed, right? And so we had this little cat and mouse game of my mom, and to this day, and I've brought it up to her since, because of course, like when I was a teenager, I could never talk to my mother about this, but now, whatever, water under the bridge, big deal. I masturbate. Ooh. So, she calls me into the into the dining room, and she goes, "How did this get in here?" And I was like, "You can't, like this isn't all an act. You have to know that it was me." Of course, that's happening in my internal monologue. I couldn't like actually verbalize that. So she's like, "How did this get in here?" And I go, "How did what get into where? Like, what is this?" And so I start looking at it and I'm like, "Oh, it was probably just hackers. I don't know."
Nice.
And she's like, "Really? Hackers can do that?" And I'm like, I guess. I don't know. Maybe change our passwords.
I have a
Nice.
question. Did the thought ever occur to you to blame it on your dad?
No, because he was there. He walked into the room shortly thereafter. But no. Like that is my dad was a little bit of a prude, especially in that regard. So even if I blamed it on if I'd been like, oh, maybe dad did it, I don't know, like that would have been so like it's not congruent with who he is. Like he just doesn't do stuff like that. And that would also like really fuck with my parents' marriage. So like
you didn't want to do that. That's fair.
No.
This has made me think of a story, and I don't really want to share this story because I know my dad is going to watch this stream later. And the story involves him.
Oh, man.
It's not. So it's going to involve me confessing to something that he probably thought was true anyway, but I denied at the time, and now anyway. So I've put it out there. I'm going to go for it now. So I can't remember how old I was. I think I was in high school. I must have been in high school. I don't remember if my brother and sister were in high school yet or not. But I remember the scene very clearly now that it's been sparked based on your story, Mike. Oh God. We were at the public swimming pool in the town, and my dad had taken me and my siblings to the swimming pool, and my brother and sister were in the swimming pool at the time. And I guess I was resting on a towel on the grass, and my dad was sitting with me. And he just made a comment about how his porn magazines had gone missing, and he asked if I had taken them. And I was just like, what are you talking about? That I was like, I don't know what you're. And clearly, I did know exactly what he was talking about because I had taken them, and was absolutely using them for my own entertainment. Pre me even being aware that I was bisexual, mind you, and there were, men's porn magazine, porn for men. I was looking at naked women. I think there might have been some naked men in some of them. And up until my ex-husband took them with him, I still had them.
Kept it in the family. That's nice.
Yes.
Hand me down.
Yeah, so Dad, I'm sorry. If you want them back, reach out to my ex-husband. They're still Facebook friends. You can message him. It's like, you've stolen my property.
That's really funny.
Oh my God, that's
really funny.
This is really embarrassing that my dad is going to find out about this way on a public live stream.
That's between you and your dad.
Yeah, that's on you, homie.
Dad, do not comment about this. If you have any words that you have to say to me about this, send it in a DM. Direct message me. Do not leave a comment on the stream about this.
Frank, for what it's worth, we all do it, man.
Yeah.
No shame. No shame. Own it. Be proud of it.
I'm sure, I think at the time, my dad's kind of reasoning behind it was he's an artist, so he would use images like that for his inspiration for his artwork and stuff. Some people use justifications in all kinds of ways.
Whether it's, no need for justification. If you actually are using it for artistic purposes, cool, go for it. Enjoy. If you're not using it, or if you... Look, This is who God made. I'm using it the way it was designed. Oh well.
But how is that for my ex-husband taking it in the divorce? It's not his property.
No. Sorry, I thought you were.
No. My last comment was a side note from the stuff that I said. But yes, all the other stuff I said was about my dad.
Great.
Well, hopefully, if he tracks down your ex, hopefully he can get them back. So.
Well, my ex.
I mean,
is
they
back
might be
here
worth
now,
a little money these days.
Yeah, you never know. It might be a collectible.
Well, depends on how used they are, maybe.
Do the pages stick together?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know how my ex-husband has used them since.
Defiled them.
Who knows? I have no idea. But rude, stealing my dad's stuff from me.
Jared, what you got?
That's funny.
Yeah.
I think mine is actually. I still remember mine, and it's really cringy because it was my first year of university in England. I was in Hull, and I got really. I just got really kind of paranoid and really self-conscious because even up till before then, I was always very sociable, and a lot of the people I kind of gravitated to were people who excelled in whatever they did. So whether they were academically strong or really good personalities or athletes and what have you. And I remember, we were all we were at this bar just chatting, and there's a whole bunch of us, and these people were like really accomplished young people who were going to do great things. And I remember one person just came up to me and he was like, "Oh, well, you're from Malaysia. Do you speak any languages aside from English?" I was like, "Yeah, I can speak Malay, but it's not great." And they go, "Oh yeah, but I heard in Malaysia there's a whole cluster of different people. Do you speak like Hindi, Tamil? How's your Mandarin?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I speak Mandarin. I don't." And unfortunately, literally in that moment, this African guy. Oh my god! Like I'm getting my Vietnam flashbacks from this. Like he literally just bursts out Mandarin and he goes, "Oh yeah, ni hao, how are you?" And he just starts talking to me, and I just go,
"Wow, yeah, caught in the moment."
Caught in the moment. I literally had a drink and I went, "Oh look, a unicorn! I'll see you guys." And I just started walking off, and everyone burst out laughing. And I remember, they were like, "Why'd you lie?" Later on, they were like, "There's nothing to be embarrassed about." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." I just started drinking my sauce because I was so embarrassed. But one positive thing did come up from that was I was literally caught in the act. So, and these are by guys who obviously by my metric, I mean, thankfully they kind of laughed it off and it wasn't a biggie. But it just came to show, just don't lie, guys. Even if you want to big yourself up or try to fit in, it'll come back around to bite you. So just tell them who you are. It's fine.
Saving face is a big reason why people lie too.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, saving face. Yeah, it could be a very harmless white lie. Some people will lie about, I couldn't afford to eat at this restaurant. They'll have a different thing. But when it comes to little lies where you don't need to lie, just don't do it. There's no reason for it. So yeah, the fact that I can still remember that, and we were all tipsy at this point, I could not live that down for weeks, months, and I still remember that. It was awful.
When Kim and I first started dating, and I'll keep the nature of the question confidential, but she asked me a question. And instinctively, I was terrified that she would judge me based on my answer. So I lied. And it was the kind of lie that, let me finish on the story. So I lied about it and instantly I felt terrible, but I was like, well, it's, and so I went home that night and I told my roommate about it, And I felt so terrible that I was not forthcoming. Like, here's this person that I really like more than like I'm really pre-love with this person, and I just lied about something so insignificant. And had I just let it go, there's no way she ever would have known about it, because it was just an insignificant thing. But the guilt just, oh man, it just tore me apart. So like 2 days later, the next time when we got together, I was like, hey, so I need to tell you something. And she's like, okay. And then I came clean about it. And she's like, why would you lie about that? I'm like, I don't know. I thought you were going to judge. I was scared of what you, and it like, I made a mountain out of a molehill for no reason. But it was just that, like, oh man, I hate lying.
I feel like there's a positive out of this though. And that is, she can now know that anytime you lie, you're going to feel super guilty. So you'll come clean to her about it. Like, it's just, or you just won't lie. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the consequence. So now that you've been through that, you're like, right, better to not lie.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If I was so guilt-ridden over something so insignificant, then like, live your life in a way that you never have to lie.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's too much stress for what it is, and inevitably it'll just come back to bite you, won't it?
Sure will.
Yep.
Next question.
No, we have comments from Daniel. Come on.
Danny boy.
Let's hear him.
All right. I think this was just in response to the question of getting busted by the cops, or when someone sculpted a bust of my likeness.
Ooh.
A moment when you got busted, someone sculpted that. Have you ever had a sculpture of your bust made?
I've had my face replicated into a bust. Like when I was in SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, we had an art class where for different groups you could do whatever class you wanted, or like whatever project you wanted. Sorry, and at the end of the semester, we would have this art showing gallery and present it to everyone. And so for my groups, we had an idea where, okay, obviously as a student, you have a lot of anxiety and aggression. So what we did was we made a bust of my face, an exact gelatin replica of my face. And we put multiple of them in a small space. And what we did was, honestly, it was great. Every time someone came into the space, we gave them a baseball bat and went, okay, you probably have a lot of frustration, a lot of anxiety. Let it out on this bust. And I'm not joking. It was very, very simple. It was all in terms of the presentation of the exhibit. And I remember my professor was so surprised with the cube that was forming up, because like what we did wasn't some magnificent artistic like reimagining thing. It was just literally we understood what our audience wanted, because we're all stressed artists, so no one understands this. And so like that got a huge thing. So yeah, the fact was it was my face. It was just getting beaten the shit out of by all these people, and literally random people will come up to me and just going, "Yeah, you look familiar." I'm like, "Yeah, did you beat someone that looked up like me like last week?" They're like, "Oh, that was you." All right, cheers, and then we'll like, walk on. So yeah, so that's my like whole thing.
Wow. Here I was imagining a sculpture of my actual bust. I do not have one, but like
yet
considering I've clearly worn a cleavage top tonight, that's where my mind went.
I mean, whatever floats Daniel's boat.
Yeah, man.
No, I haven't. I don't think I've had anyone.
I've always wanted to have like a replica, like a plastic or a clay replica of my head, because
it's actually not that hard. Yeah.
doing a lot of costume making and mask making. That would be super helpful to actually build something around a model.
Your dimensions, yeah.
That would fit. And that would come in very handy, but I just haven't.
I mean, like, I remember back then, it wasn't that hard to do. It was, I mean, like, obviously we had little things with apparatus to help you breathe out your nose and your mouth. Sure. But from what I remember, this was a few years ago. I imagine it's probably come on leaps and bounds, so you never know. It probably wouldn't even take that long. So it might be something to look into.
I have a feeling that this is something that my dad has probably done before with all of his creativity that he's done. It wouldn't surprise me if it's something he's done. It's made me think of Mrs. Doubtfire, you know, having the whole mask done for the Mrs. Doubtfire face.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay. Next comment from Daniel. For most people, the AOL sign-on voice would go, "You've got mail." In Mike's case, it was, "You've got porn."
You've got porn.
That was about the time his mom was going, "Michael, get down here, pants up."
Pants up.
Oh, that's funny.
All right,
don't worry, Mom. I've risen to the occasion.
And then for my dad, oi, anyone seen my nudie bags? Need to give this old cranky yank. Oh my god!
Can you say this in your
in your dad's accent?
Accent?
Yeah.
My dad is American, so I that's why I have to do an Australian accent for this, because he's not actually does not have an Australian accent, but this is clearly an Australian accent.
I still want to hear it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it in my dad's American voice?
No,
Aussie.
No,
hardcore
Australian accent, please. Thick.
But in a male Aussie, because I was clearly not saying it. Oi, oi,
oi,
oi! Anyone seen my nudie bags?
My nudie bags? Yeah.
Need to give the old cranky yank.
I love it.
That's good.
And then me, I swear it was for research purposes only, intensive research. Like I've got carpal tunnel from the research.
See, Daniel, I told you could do better.
There you go. Well done, sir.
This is a really should I say this? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it now. Okay, so one of my first tools of choice before I even knew what masturbation was a Barbie doll's legs.
Sure.
Yeah.
You would use, would the feet still be on it?
Or would you disconnect it from Barbie and then just...
You can't take the feet off the legs.
So you would put the whole leg up inside?
Oh, dang.
Feet and all?
The feet is part of the leg. You know, the feet are like the shape to go on the high heels, right?
Could you imagine, if we lived in a world where Toy Story was real, and then Barbie was like, "What you doing?"
The feet aren't flat like that on a Barbie doll. They're pointed like ballerinas' feet because they wear high heels. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's more like straight down.
Still, you gotta
Sorry, Dad. That's too much information. Oh my god.
Brings playing with toys to a whole new level, I bet.
This is what happens when memories get sparked and I have no filter, that I share stuff that I really probably shouldn't. Oh
that's the whole point.
There you go.
That out loud. On a stream that is in public purview now.
Sharad, what was the moment that you discovered masturbation?
That's a good question.
Your method or tool of choice?
I think the very first time I didn't even realize. I was just like, "What is going on?" And for it, I honestly, I can't remember how old I was. I was actually quite young when, like, I was watching, like, it wasn't even anything hardcore. It wasn't anything crazy. And I was like, why is my body reacting to this way? And then after a while,
what were you engaged in to activate the feeling?
I don't know. I think I was just, honestly, I think, now that I remember it, it might have been watching the original first season of Power Rangers. The pink Power Ranger. She did it for me.
Amy Jo Johnson.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Amy Jo Johnson. And, she didn't love Tommy. She loved me. Okay? She loved me. And
she loved me.
Now, let's not get crazy. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And, and I just remember thinking, what's happening to me? This is weird. And there was a lot of, like, not shame, but just confusion, because I was quite young. And I still remember this. Like, we went to a family friend's house. My sister's friend, who became our family friend. And I remember I was talking, there was the three of us, me, my sister, her, and her dad was there. And we were just chatting. And, like, I remember, like, we were just talking about, like, if you want any weird questions, just feel free to ask. And I remember asking him in front of everyone, I was like, why does this happen? And I remember him looking at me, and I could see the mouse like running through the thing in his head, like, and I remember like the girls just burst out laughing, and I remember him looking at me, just going, "When it happens, man, just let it happen." If what you're thinking about if Power Rangers is fine, if it starts thinking of other stuff, just whatever. And yeah, so like that was it. That's when I realized, oh, okay. So yeah.
Wow, nice.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. What about you, Mike?
For you,
I think I was like 11 or 12. It was probably closer to 11. And I was in my bedroom watching TV, and I would usually just like lay flat on the floor, belly on the floor, and kind of like prop myself up with my elbows and just kind of like look up like that because the TV was higher, whatever. And so I would just lay on the floor and just watch TV. And then one day, because like when you're laying like that, your pelvis is kind of pushing into the floor, but you're a kid, like you don't. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Until one day, it did. And I was like, what is happening right now? And I was like, whoa, that was intense. All right, cool.
Yeah.
And then like you try to push your pelvis into the floor again immediately afterwards, and nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
And you're like, huh, am I dying? What is anyway, the next day, some women from our church came over, and young ladies, and they were just, hanging out, sitting with my parents, talking like church gospel stuff, whatever. And I'm laying on the floor in the same way that I was upstairs watching TV. And I start thinking about this one young lady, and I'm like, huh. She's kind of pretty. She's really cute. And then it was way more intense than what it was watching TV the day before. And I was like, whoa. And everyone is like, what is happening? Are you okay? And I'm like,
yeah. And you just waddle out. You just waddle. Yeah.
And like, it was the kind of thing that like nobody knew what I was doing or like what had happened to me. They were just, I was such a weird kid anyway growing up. They were just like, okay, you're being weird, okay, bye. But yeah, and so for years that's how I would do it, is I would just lay on the floor and push my pelvis against the floor. That's how.
Sounds painful.
Because no one taught you how to.
No one taught me.
I
didn't know that this was a thing.
Yeah.
So I just never did it.
Wow. And this, folks, is why it's good to have sex education from a younger age.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that People don't have these confusing moments of like, whoa, what's happening to me? They already know. Wow.
And also to be safe about it too.
Yeah. Not stick
using the feet of Barbie dolls. Probably, I'm sure there's a healthier outlet there.
Yeah.
I think so. But I didn't know what any of that stuff was back in those days either. So yeah.
But look how far you've come.
Obviously, given how my dad talks about masturbation being a sin, you can probably understand why I would not talk to my parents about that sort of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was the house I grew up in.
Yep. Religious upbringings. All right.
Yes.
Next question.
Next question.
Ooh.
A moment when you were a third wheel. Biggest tag along wins. We don't have to do that part, but a moment when you were a third wheel.
I keep coming back to this. I wasn't the third wheel, but it was the night I lost my virginity.
Oh.
Now, full disclosure, I lost my virginity later in life, when I was 27. I think
you mentioned this previously. Yeah, when I was talking about mine, I think we started talking about virginity losses.
So, I was 27. I was working for Lucky's Bar, and all the bartenders decided to throw a party in. Like we all rented out rooms in a hotel, and so it was just like we all kind of, and it wasn't just like those of us from Lucky's. It was people from all over the place. Like we all got together in this one hotel, and so like we would party hop from this person's room to this person's room.
That's cool.
And there was just like parties all over this hotel happening, and so you just bounce from room to room to room to room. And there was this one woman who, when we had known each other, we'd worked together as bartenders before, but like we never did anything with each other, but there was always like that kind of mutual attraction. And this one night we're like party hopping, we crossed paths, and we're like, hey, all right. But she invited me and two other guys over to her room, and it kind of became a contest of whoever is the last to leave is going to be the person that I sleep with.
Oh,
no! And so this one guy dropped out early on because he's like, I'm not going to play this game. So he left. So it was down between me and this other guy, and it was so obvious to the both of us that the other person wanted her affection that night. It's like we just kept hanging out on, and it just kept going and going and going, until finally she and I kind of like started being buddy, and then the other guy was finally like, he could see that he was gonna lose for the night, and so he was like, all right, well, have a good night, you two. And he just peaced out. Wow. And that's when we locked the door.
That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah. So cool. I was the victor, but also like it was awkward. Like there was had the night changed into his favor, I would have been the third wheel. Yeah. So I mean, I could have bowed out.
I think mine's quite similar-ish. So when I was 16, I was in sixth form in a place called Epsom. It's about 45 minutes from London, south of London, and I became I was good friends with this with this one fellow, and very randomly I bumped into his girlfriend. The three of us were just hanging out on the grounds, and she's lovely girl, beautiful, very bubbly, very intelligent, and the three of us got along very, very well. For context, my friend, he was in the top year, I was the year beneath him, and she was the year beneath me. So that was the age breakdown. So we got along really, really well, the three of us. The year after, but end of the year, obviously he graduated. They broke up because obviously he was going to university, and so whatever. So I was in the top year, she was in the year beneath me, and it got really, really awkward because everyone would, because she and I remained good friends, and everyone assumed that we were doing more than that. And in my mind, I was like doing special, like naughty things, and it just got super awkward because, it was just really, really weird. And like my friend, he would message me and go. I still remember to this day because we had the small brick Nokias, the ones that you could throw across a distance and nothing would happen to it. And I remember I got a text from him saying, "Hey pal, it's me. I've got a new number." I'm like, "Oh hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Good, BT Dubs. I've heard you're sleeping with so and so. You should have told me." And I remember just going, "No," like there was nothing. Honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong. I found her very, very attractive, and we were close, but we were just friends. And I just remember going, no, just no. And like, it got so bad because obviously, like, do you know what school is like? People will start gossiping because every time she and I would be walking around together, like she'd link her hand in mine. Everyone assumed that, oh, you guys are sleeping together. And I remember, like, it just got so awkward even in school that people were like, "Hey, weren't you friends with her boyfriend last year?" And I was like, "Dude, no, just don't. No, don't." And I remember it got so awkward until she actually had to tell people, like, "Listen, we're not sleeping together. We're not." And I remember, like, it just got to that. We're all kids, and it got, like, put it this way, it was so childish. I knew that, like, people were like, all the girls and the guys were telling me, like, "Listen, dude, we know that you're not together, but the fact that you're so uncomfortable with it, it's hilarious to us. So, like, we know we're just doing this just to mess with you." And it got to a point where even like on Friday nights, we had something called the Sixth Form Bar, where you could go to this pub actually within the school grounds, and you're allowed 2 pints each. That's for the sixth form. And I remember, like, why not? And I think it was good just for like, obviously when you're educating children, you want to keep them in a controlled environment where alcohol's involved, so it makes sense. And I remember it got so stupid one evening because either she was in the bar first or I was in the bar first, and whenever the other person walked in, I'm not joking, the entire bar, we're looking at about 30, 40, 50 people strong, would just go, "Ew," and we're 16, 17, 18 years old at this point. We're not 13. Everyone's going, "Ew." And I just started going like crazy. I was like, "Please stop." I was just so embarrassed. I was literally run out of the bar because of how embarrassed I was. But it was just embarrassing. So so that's just me.
Wow. Wow.
But the good news is that me and my friend, like, we were good friends. Nothing happened between us. I think I did fancy her at one point, but it was nothing more than like kind of thing. And it was like a puppy love kind of thing. And the good news is they reconnected after university. They got married and they have a kid.
Wow.
So so it all turned out well. I remember as a joke, my friend, he would be like, he's like, "Thank you for never like getting involved. I would have killed you." I'm like, yeah, sure, it's fine. And then I was like, "Well, the least you could do is if it's a boy, name it after me, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, never gonna happen." but I mean, but I do look on it fondly, and so it's just one of those kiddie kind of things that I look back on.
See, so Sharad has good instincts about friendships and what not to do, unlike his former roommate.
I had that same thought.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I mean, it wasn't that I wasn't tempted. She indicated like she would have been interested, and beautiful girl, but it just didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can understand that. I've had guys who were mutual friends with me and somebody that I was with be attracted to me at the same time, that I'm just like, that's not that's not a good idea. Like even after we break up, like if I know that person's still attracted to me, it still felt like that wouldn't be a good way to go about things. Unless I was feeling incredibly insecure and just wanted attention, and then I might have done something that I regretted. Didn't sleep with them, but anyway. I don't know where I'm going with that. For my third wheel story, I don't know, the stuff that's coming to mind for me is situations where you know, when I was married and we were polyamorous, and he would have his one of his girlfriends would be with us. Sometimes I felt like I was the third wheel in those situations, like because my ex-husband would treat me as like the support person, even though I'm meant to be like the primary partner because we were married. So like thoughts that come to mind were like when I think I might have mentioned this on a stream before, when I went to Vietnam for my birthday, and his Filipino girlfriend joined us, and they were like holding hands walking down the street while I was walking with our kid. And there was a situation where he wanted to have a threesome with me and one of my friends, and I was like not into it, so I pretended to be asleep so I could not be involved. And then they dragged me to the bed and started doing stuff on the bed next to me. That was a story that I talked about in a courtroom. How fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
okay,
because that's abuse, really, is what it was. Like it was a non-consensual situation. I obviously I wasn't asleep, but I was pretending to be asleep, and they thought I was asleep. You shouldn't be doing a thing like that. So yeah, just those kinds of, I'm sure there were like other situations like that that happened as well, but those are two that kind of came to mind. It's like I have a lot of shit to work through.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
You can see why I would rather be single than with somebody like that. Pretty much, right? You can see why I'm very selective about who I'll date, and I want to be more thoughtful going forward before I get myself into a situation that I want to make sure I trust somebody well enough first before that.
Good.
I'm just having a look at my dad's left a comment, and it's in response to that one that Daniel left, the story that I told that my dad was not here for. I don't know. Should I bring it up? Since I've mentioned it now, I guess.
That is that's
Dad, I'll just make a comment to my dad on the stream. Dad,
I will let you take care of this one.
Daniel was responding to a story that I shared on the stream. Wow. Wow. Okay.
All right. Solidarity.
All right. Okay.
I guess I can understand where my dad's coming from, but he's reading it without context, I feel like. And that, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that.
It was just a joke, Frank. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
It was just a joke.
Yeah, my dad's gonna go back and watch that. Like I said, I revealed that story knowing my dad was going to come on and watch it later. Next question. That's
next question.
If Dominica does not come back next week for the live stream, we totally understand.
Like my dad knows, you know, my dad can make a choice to not. Oh, I can see on YouTube that Daniel is deleting those messages.
Oh,
Daniel,
Woo,
don't worry about, like, my dad is
you're good.
You're fine,
good,
Daniel.
You're good.
Right. A moment when you were a pushover.
Just one?
Well, if you have a couple that come to mind, feel free to share more than one story.
I never. So this has only been kind of a thing for me to realize about myself in the past few years, but the vast majority of my life, I didn't have much of a backbone, because in most instances in my life, whenever I would express an interest in something, or anytime that I felt confident about something, there was always someone in my life to cut me down and make me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about, either like through gaslighting or people not wanting me to be right, or other people just wanting to, like, I was an easy target. Because my confidence level was so low. So, and that took years for me to develop. So, read the question one more time so I can
a
remember
moment
the
when
context.
you were a pushover.
Yeah, I mean, there in my life, especially when I was younger, there were just so many instances of me wanting to stand up for XYZ, and I would just always get cut off at the knees and made to feel like I was like an inch tall, that I was insignificant, that I wasn't worth anything. So, that being the context, I mean, geez, I don't know. I'm having a hard time thinking of like a specific example, but being a pushover, I went along with the crowd. Sorry. Well, I marched to the beat of my own drum because, like I said earlier, I was the weird kid. I took pride in that, and it wasn't until I learned how to like make fun of myself that I was able to like own that shit. But there are definitely certain circles that you want acceptance in, so you can form. Hence, like the religious areas. You grow up in these religious communities, and you care about the opinions of the people that exist in those communities. So you roll over on things that you feel are important, or like I never understood why people who are LGBT were made fun of. Like that just didn't, the word gay was a punchline growing up. And I understood that it was a punchline, and I understood that it was an insult, or that it was used as an insult. I just didn't understand why. Growing up in a religious family, in a religious community, everyone tells you why. But there was just something disingenuous about that. Like I couldn't wrap my brain around, like, okay, but why does God hate gay people? I don't know. And it didn't make sense to me. So it was there were a lot of instances like that I just kind of like rolled over on when I was a kid, because I didn't have more chutzpah, so to speak. Nor did I have the experience or the knowledge that I have now. You know, the relationships with people.
FYI, could you give us the Oxford Dictionary definition of chutzpah?
Chutzpah?
Mm-hmm.
Spelled with a C. True story.
Ooh.
It's Yiddish.
Okay.
Hold on, let me look it up.
So,
like the basic idea of chutzpah is that it's like the you don't have the cojones.
Right.
Do you have the chutzpah? Do you have the drive? Do you have the gumption?
Okay, that's cool.
Chutzpah. No, came up goodbye.
Chutzpah. It has to be the ha.
That's the thing. Google does not, or the voice recognition does not always recognize when you're speaking another language.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think for me, in terms of being a pushover, actually, this is a very apropos kind of question, because I feel like in some ways I'm going through it right now. Actually, okay. So just for a bit of context, several years ago I fell ill when I was in the US, and it's an autoimmune disorder where your entire body doesn't realize what's friend and foe, and it attacks itself. And for the longest time, I had to rely on other people for basic, very, very basic assistance, like feeding myself, going to the bathroom, getting dressed. It really started, I had to learn even how to bend my thumb all the way up, and basically I live with my family, and I have a very, very old school father, and he likes a way where it's very patriarchal in the sense that like he insists that whatever he wants done has to be done. And my sister, she's very, very opinionated, very proud, very independent, and if she doesn't want to do something, she can go, and she's very, very she's a very active professional, and she wants to work abroad, and she wants to work abroad, particularly in the Middle East. And so I remember, like, if there's ever an argument, my dad will always throw down the adage, if you don't like it, you can leave this house, kind of thing. And she'll be like, cool, I'll bounce, obviously. And with me, I can be a pushover in the sense that my dad, he can be, let me preface this by saying my dad does mean well. He would never do anything untoward. But whenever he gets aggressive, and to be fair, I struggle with this today, he'll insist that things be done at that moment. So let's say, for example, I'm having a Zoom call with some colleagues, and he needs something done for some reason immediately. It cannot wait an hour. It cannot wait. It has to be. I know that Mike gets triggered by this because, like, yeah, this is a kind of thing where, like, yeah, he'll be like, all right, this has to be done now. And I've lost jobs. I've actually lost 3 jobs because of that, because it had to be done then. And obviously, and if I don't do it, I'll lose, like, quote unquote, I can leave the house. And because I couldn't function by myself, quote unquote, see how long you last without the assistance, the medication. And I know that he means well, but I get so scared that when push comes to shove, like, obviously with not just the 3 of us, with anyone, if you push hard enough, you could do it. And so I mean, in some ways, me being a pushover is, I get so scared that if I do stand up for myself, I'll be kicked out of the house, where I can't function, because obviously without even the medication to help keep me in check, I wouldn't be able to look after myself to contribute. So that is a fear I have, So yeah, so I suppose in some ways, my sister has told me the only way I can really get out of this position I'm in, is to earn some money to leave. I have a friend. I think we've talked about this. I have a friend in San Francisco who's offered to connect me with people. And yeah, so that's pretty much me. So it's very difficult because I want to break out and become the mature adult I want to be in, but every time I try to do that, the financial opportunity gets taken away, and I'm back at square one again. Yeah. So it's very, very tricky, but it's something that I'm kind of determined to do. And hopefully, I want to say maybe this time next year, who knows? I might be with you two stateside, so we'll see.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Or maybe in a year or two, if I can get a touch political for a second. Maybe in a year or two, you won't want to move here.
I was trying to not go in the political direction, Mike. I would like to hope that things work out. Yeah. Sharad, I can relate to your story. I feel like that's similar to my pushover-ish experience with being in the marriage that I was in, of this fear that if I didn't behave in a particular way for my ex-husband, that he was going to leave me or kick me out, and I was financially dependent on him, so I didn't really, it wasn't easy for me to just get out and leave. That's why, my story of the realization that when he couldn't afford to divorce me, finally the tables had turned and I could actually do something about it. Kind of, not that I could afford it either, but at the time I was like, at least I was working, unlike him, and had an income. But it is so much easier to be put in that pushover position and like doormat position when you are dependent on the person that is putting you there. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean it's tricky because obviously with it being a parent, it doesn't matter whether it's East or Western culture. There is that deference, and it's tricky because with my mum passing away last month, a year last month, obviously like the family we have, it's important for us to stick together and help each other, but at the same time it's like it's putting yourself in a position to be disappointed and to feel used. So my sister actually gave me good advice, surprisingly. She was like saying, at the end of the day though, when it comes to not just our dad, but a certain generation, they've had decades and decades and decades of this lived-in experience. If you expect them to change at this stage of their life, you might as well asking for blue to turn green. It just won't happen, So I think the best thing what I've learned is, in terms of being a pushover, is, accept what you can, accept what the situation is, and don't expect things to change. And the only way you can get out of being a pushover is if you make it happen yourself. So hopefully, like I said, this time next year we'll all be doing this at the same time zone, and
that'd be good. Well, look, if you're in San Francisco, you could come and be in my house next to me on the street.
Yeah, just be with him. You can just kind of
share the mic. Woo! Share the mic round.
I was just gonna. I am open to be shared.
Can we share mic? Yeah. Share Mike Brown. Yeah.
Share the mic.
Bet Kim would love that. Yeah. She's like, let's share him again. Oh.
Sharad, Daniel's got some condolences for you.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
I think that was the reason that I didn't meet up with you when I was in Malaysia in January last year, because that was when your mum was ill, right?
Yeah, she was very ill.
I don't remember if I reached out to you or not. I may have done. But yeah, I mean, I was very busy with other stuff when I was in Malaysia in January last year anyway. But I do remember that was a thing that happened very close to the same time.
Yeah, thank you. No, like it's okay. Like I said, it was so many things going on, and obviously, I'm sure as you two can relate when maybe not a parental figure, but someone close to you passes away. There's a whole bunch of different factors you have to take in, like making sure all the ceremonies and procedures are all done, all A to Z, everything, all paperwork all filed, and it was just very, very draining and just tiring. But who knows? Obviously, but now that I know that my household is settled, everyone's stable, at least now I've got no quote unquote reason. And to be fair, it's also self-sabotaging if you say, I have duties and responsibilities here, I can't do what I want to do. I think you're self-sabotaging doing that. So
yes, but it is a very Asian mindset to prioritize the parents. I know that was a big thing with when I was with my Malaysian ex Lee. He definitely had parental obligations that I think prevented him from seeing a future where he could come and be with me in the US. Even though I clearly stated that was something that I wanted. But you know, it was something that we talked about, how he kind of had familial obligations. Like he's the child who was pretty much always the one who was driving his parents to and from the airport and things like that, because his work schedule as a comedian made it easier for him to do that compared to his siblings. But yeah, it's definitely from what I've learned, it seems to be a very common practice to prioritize what the parents need in Asian households.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, it's not just a societal thing. I think because in terms of me recently, after falling ill, I was so dependent on them as well. Yeah, so it was that double-edged knife kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, you just live and learn, and hopefully things will only get better, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I hope things work out and you are able to come out here, because it would be so cool to hang out in person more often. Yeah. I mean, if you come to San Francisco, that's just across the bay from me.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I'd come out to hang out. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, then we could have the games party that we've talked about wanting to do.
Oh, yeah.
However many streams ago that happened. That'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty cool. We all can film something in one location, just start up just put up a YouTube video. That'd be pretty dope.
Dominica already has the setup for it.
There you go. Perfect.
Exactly. I could do it. I have all camera options and things.
We'll
film something and edit it together and post it after the fact. It doesn't have to be a live stream.
We'll get you that YouTube plaque, Dominica.
So,
eventually.
So one of my best friends, in that same regard, every Saturday he films D&D in a professional setup where like everyone has their own camera on them, everyone has their own microphone.
Ooh.
There's a camera on the because they do kind of use like a little bit of a game board kind of a thing. It's more of like Dragon's Lair type thing, whatever. But yeah, they all play their characters and they play D&D for like 2 hours every Saturday, and it's recorded. So it's
that's
a
so sweet
setup. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and from what I understand with D&D, it's the what do you call it? Not the games master, the
DM.
The DM, the DM.
Dungeon Master.
Dungeon Master. Oh, different kind of game. But yeah, like I remember when I was in Savannah, like two of my roommates were game designers, lovely guys, and they had a D&D group at our place, and I couldn't understand of it like heads or tail, but I just loved the community that they did, and I remember like just looking out, and I remember I would come in going, "Hey guys, can I get anyone some biscuits or anything?" And they're like, "Yeah, cool." But yeah, I mean, I think it's something that you could really, really play with.
It's like if you have the setup to do it, and you have the time to do it regularly, it's really fun.
Would you be interested in like? I mean, like, have you ever done that?
A video game? Oh, sorry, a tabletop game, sort of.
Yeah, a streamed tabletop game. Yeah.
No, I haven't. I would be open to it if I had friends that wanted to get together and do something like that, because I have a lot of fun games to do that sort of thing. I think my fun employed game could be a fun one to do that sort of thing.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think with my time schedule, I would have to replace this live stream with that.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah,
cool,
so not today. Not today.
Not today.
No, I would definitely be prioritizing this. I mean, this is obviously the live stream that I do prioritize, given I'm still at the same state of my last Lego is still in the same state that it was from the beginning of January, I think. Like, I've still only done 2 streams of that. At some point, I will continue to build it. At some point, it'll happen. Daniel has another comment for us. Dungeons and Dragons. We're now a level 99 dominatrix ogre. The number of times I have had someone refer to me as a dominatrix just because my name is Dominique. If I had money for that, I probably wouldn't be that rich. But let's just say that it's been a decent number of times that people have made those kinds of
Would that
comments.
be like your porn name, like Dominatrix May?
Oh my gosh! I don't know.
I thought it was like your first name would be your first pet's name, and then your last name would be your mum's maiden name, wouldn't it?
That's what they.
I know it's.
But isn't
one of the versions I know is the street that you grew up on.
Yeah. But I feel like those porn names were answers to your security questions.
Yeah,
I know.
But using that metric, I've got the best porn name by far. Wolf Palmer. That's my porn name.
Wolf Palmer.
Yeah. Pretty good.
I guess mine would be Toby Liberty.
Oh, that's awesome. Give me penis or give me liberty. What's yours?
I am not going to answer that because I might have security questions that are related to that. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Fair
I might. Who knows? So I'm going to be security conscious.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
I'm looking at the time. How are you guys feeling? Do you want to keep going with another question? We're almost at the 3-hour mark.
Let's do one more question.
Yeah, let's do one more.
Yeah, let's do one more.
All right, from the same deck or something else?
Let's switch it up.
Switch it up. Oh,
Last question. Let's switch it up. Okay, if that's okay with you, Sharad.
Do you want one?
Yeah, let's go for it.
From
spice things up a little bit.
One of the spicy decks.
Oh, you know it. Whatever the spicier.
All right, let's pull out. I think we
the better.
Pulled something from this one last time. But what category for a spicy one? We've got intimacy or relationship, or wait, let me see what the categories in the other one is. Intimacy, relationship. Sex and intimacy. I think that's the spiciest one from this. Or couple. And I think, that's not spicy.
So intuitively, I understand that your halo is not a ring light. But whenever you move around,
the light reflects off it. Yeah,
that you have a ring light on your head.
That's really funny.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
That's really funny. Well, I'm not getting rid of it. It's just going to continue. So
no, that's awesome.
All right. So which of those 3 categories? Sex and intimacy, or relationship?
Mike, what are you feeling?
Oh, I chose to pick a new deck, so you get to pick this one.
Let's go with intimacy.
All right, intimacy. This one is this the
Intimacy?
Intimacy.
Into me you see. That's how my dad. No, I got that from my dad. That's not me making up something funny. I got that. My dad used to say
That's
that.
also from The Love Guru with Mike Myers.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
People hate that movie. In fact, that was the movie that basically ended Mike Myers' career. I love it.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize that, but that makes sense. All right, let's see. Is this? Ooh. It may have been the deck that was intimacy, but it is a sex question.
Okay. Go for
it. If you could have a magic wand, what would you want more of in your sex life?
More of
sex in general, because you have that.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying let's. No, I'm thinking of myself. I'm not judging. I don't know your situation, Sharad.
Go for it, Michael.
Stamina.
Yes. Yes.
The older I get, the faster I wear out.
You're only human, sir.
I would say foreplay. And not just like in the touch sense, but like in the lead up of like this, assuming I was in a relationship, which I'm not right now, but if I was, it would be what I would want to focus on, is having like the teasing, like text teasing with build up kind of stuff leading into stuff. That's what I like. So I like having more of that.
I think with mine, if I could, I would like to incorporate like video game mechanics into it. Like, okay, hear me out.
I'm on board with this, but I don't know where you're going.
Okay, so as some of us might know, obviously communication isn't always apparent, and I would like a little meter to pop up, like challenge accepted, ding, and then you see this little thing, and whenever you're doing something, there's a good going left to right to knowing what you're doing great, what you're doing not so great. And so when you're doing something, you can tell, oh, it's going a certain way. Keep doing this. Keep doing this. Keep doing this. Oh, if that could be job, I would love it. That would just be my life would be wonderful.
That's an interesting metric.
Game mechanic, yeah, to kind of have that little game mechanic thing in there.
Yeah.
Where So if you know, okay, let me try this new move I saw one time. Yeah, no, don't do that ever again. So you're like, okay, let's go back to this.
So you've just unlocked a memory for me. This is almost apropos.
Almost.
But we've all played Super Mario 3 on the NES, right? So if Daniel, if you haven't played the game, here's so for anyone else watching that is unfamiliar with the game, so when you get the raccoon costume, when Mario gets the raccoon costume, it provides him the opportunity to fly, and he just shakes his tail or whatever, and he flies, right? But the only way to get him to fly is you have a bar at the bottom of the screen that's labeled P. I don't know what the P stands for, but and there's like all these dots that are clear, and then once your entire P bar, again, whatever that P stands for, once that entire bar shows white, and I think you have to like run for a certain distance before you can get that bar to be completely, all those dots to be filled in, then that's when you can start flying, right? So my brother and I always had this really dumb phrase that we would throw around to each other all the time. That is, when your pee is white, you can fly. That just made us so hard all the time. When your pee is white, you can fly.
Yeah.
And especially out of context, like,
yes, that's hilarious.
What? When your pee is white, you can fly.
That's amazing.
So, yes, sex bar, helpful.
Very helpful.
Pee is white, you can fly.
And I think it's good as well because a sex bar, it kind of makes it a challenge. It makes it fun. So why not? And you get the answers of, what works, what doesn't work. So
yeah,
perfect.
Totally. Like getting your pee white.
Yep. Sure.
So that was a pretty quick question run through. I could do another one.
Yeah.
I could do a whole round of these if they're quick.
Sure.
Yeah, make
another
them
one
snappy,
from the same section. Let me just pull up. Daniel's left another couple of comments. He gave me a thumbs up for the foreplay comment. See,
You called him
foreplay.
Dennis.
Did I? I thought I said Daniel. I was like, out of my mouth. As my
You're what? You're blah.
my mouth speaks faster than my brain thinks sometimes.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Don't worry about it. That's okay. No.
Don't even need to make sense.
And Mario 3 was my favorite one. I even bought the Nintendo Power Strategy Guide that showed you how to screw Toad over in the betting games. Wow!
Awesome. That's
dedication.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't get a strategy guide for a video game until Final Fantasy X because I loved that game so much.
I got that one.
I just wanted to get all of the find all of the treasures and everything. I'm like, I have to collect everything. So 10
Gotta
and
catch
10
them all.
I got those guys. Oh.
Okay.
He's just gone completely. Yeah, maybe.
Has he?
Maybe. I don't know if he's gonna come back or not. Well, we could end it, or I don't know. We're gonna have a little chat and see if he comes back, and then if not, we can just end it.
No worries.
Rather than asking another question.
Let's go for it. Ask another one.
We can talk video games for a bit since that's where.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Final Fantasy X and X-2 were the ones that I had the strategy guides for. And I think I got the 12 strategy guide as well. Like I loved those games.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy was what got me. Final Fantasy X is what got me onto the JRPG train. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was. I wasn't a big fan. I finished 10, but my favorite Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't know if you ever played that one. I love that one.
I didn't, but I've heard of it at least.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I prefer in the what are they called? The turn-based RPGs. I prefer that instead of the new kind of. Correct me if I'm wrong. The new real-time battles. I'm not a big fan of because I like to take my time. I remember playing it in England where I had so many things going, people coming in and out of the room, your phone going off or whatever, and you could leave a battle, do whatever, come back and just continue playing. And now it just seems like this whole new system.
You have to think faster for your strategies in the real-time style rather than the turn-based strategy. That's why 10 was good for me because it was turn-based. You got to take your time making a decision about what strategy you were going to take.
And one thing I didn't like is because Final Fantasy is very much the trendsetter, the flag bearer, as it would. And when they started doing real time, everybody started doing it. And that kind of changed everything for me, really. So,
my computer keeps doing this weird thing that, it would appear that every hour and a half that I'm on this live stream, the whole computer just shuts down and takes me to my lock screen. So
wow, that is weird.
That's
yeah, I thought that you because you were making a comment about Kim, so I thought like you had to quickly rush off and talk to her. So I was like, oh, that was
I thought, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I mean she's asleep in the other room right now. But
bless.
I was just gonna say that I was going to tell you guys what her Valentine's Day gift is this year. So she has really been, I'm going to keep my voice down a little bit. She's really been getting into The Legend of Zelda on Nintendo Switch. And like she plays it incessantly. She just fucking loves this game. And so I bought kind of like one of those code books of like all the cheat sheets and all the secrets and all that stuff, right? But what I realized is that I didn't buy the original. I bought Zelda: A Link to the Past. And I was like,
that's a new one.
Not the one that she's playing.
No, it was an old one. It's the sequel to the original, right?
Right.
And so I was like, well, doggone it. I'll just go ahead and let me just go ahead and buy the original. And so I went ahead and bought the original. It was like $20, whatever. And then like the day after I bought it, Kim mentioned something like, because I was going to go hang out with a friend at the casino. And I was like, hey, do you mind if we have like a boys' night at the casino? And she's like, no, I could actually use a nice quiet night at home, just play video games, watch TV, just zone out. And I was like, oh, are you still playing Zelda? And she goes, no, I beat it.
Oh, no.
So, but I still have A Link to the Past. I don't know if she's going to start playing it though, but...
Did she have the game, or did you have to get the game too?
No. So the cool thing with Nintendo Switch is that you can buy a subscription to their online store, and you have access to every game they've ever made.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty rad.
Okay, cool.
Shall I pull up some more of Daniel's comments?
Please, let's hear from Daniel.
So autism. Brain says, I know exactly what I want to say. Mouth goes, blee blah. That's pretty accurate, actually. That is pretty accurate. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for understanding. That my mouth does fuck things up for me. Decent amount. And he also says he has Final Fantasy X, but hasn't played 10-2. He also has 7, 9, 10, 12, and 13. Yeah. I played the beginning of 7. I've not done 9. I actually have all. I bought a game bundle of all 1 through 9 on the Switch.
Oh, wow.
So I have all of them. But I have not. I've played 10, 10-2, 12. So yeah, 11 was one of the MMO RPG ones, right? So I didn't do that one. 13-2, 13 Lightning Returns, did all of those, and then 15. They're all the Final Fantasy games that I've played. That's me getting my geek on. Yeah, I love the game so much. And then
correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, sorry. You can mention that thing. Question about your game is like you're mentioning if you pay for the membership, you can download everything from that catalog and what have you. Do you guys remember how much that is?
Oh, the monthly subscription to Nintendo Online on the Switch, and I think here it's like $10 a month for a single.
Okay,
think the yearly subscription is like there's 2 tiers.
Yeah.
There's the access to most games, and then there's access to all games. And I think the most games tier is like $60-$70 a year, something like that.
Which for all games, is it like
yeah? So the lower tier one just gives you access to the Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, and then the higher access gives you the Nintendo 64 games as well, I think. Right?
And GameCube.
And GameCube. There you go. I've not subscribed yet, so I don't know, but I've thought about subscribing just so I can do online with my friend Calvin in Malaysia. We were going to play It Takes Two that way, but I've not got around to that yet, and not working right now makes it harder for me to justify paying for a subscription. So Daniel says 10 was great except for Blitzball. He friggin' hates Blitzball.
I kind of liked Blitzball. I kind of liked it. Do you guys remember playing it?
Yes. That was my brother's favorite part of 10. Like he got like so into all of the Blitzball games that he took a long time to actually finish the game because he was just doing Blitzball.
Yeah.
Me, I mainly did it just for, you know, when you had to achieve certain things. So I was fine with it, but it wasn't my favorite. Yeah.
Okay, so I just looked up the price for Nintendo Switch Online plus the expansion pack.
That's the top tier, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's $50 a year, so it's a little cheaper than what I thought. And you have access to NES games, Nintendo Switch games, Game Boy, Nintendo Music,
64.
Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, Mario Kart 8, the Booster Course, Animal Crossing. One of them, Splatoon 2, and Sega Genesis Nintendo Switch Online.
Wow.
That's a pretty good deal.
For $50 a year?
Yeah, that's. I mean, you're paying.
People signing up $50 a month, let alone $50 a year.
No, I know. Like it's $60 to buy a new game if you're buying, and then plus tax, right? Like to buy just one new game. So.
And that's not including the expansion packs, right? They come.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was incorrect in that GameCube is also included, but
okay, that's fine.
So no GameCube, but N64 is there.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And this is for the Switch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, amazing. Okay.
Get yourself a Switch, Sharad.
like that's the thing. I've been actually trying to save up for a PS5, but now that you mentioned the Switch thing, I'm like, maybe a little redirect might be in order.
Could wait until the Switch 2 comes out, which is going to be later this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they've given the exact release date for it, but they have at least announced that it's coming later this year now, and you can see what it looks like. So that's an option if you're still saving up anyway. It might not be until it comes out that you are able to get it.
So,
something to consider. I know I saw Kieran, another comedian in Malaysia, was like posting about people like Nintendo geeks are just going to buy it regardless. Like you don't need to advertise it. Daniel says, get her a Nintendo 64 and buy her Ocarina of Time. That's the best Zelda game. Well, if you have, it's probably on the Nintendo 64. It's probably on there. I would think it's on there.
Well, I do agree that it's probably like the Ocarina of Time is a badass game. I loved it. So good.
I have some news for you, Daniel, that I think you'll appreciate. I still have my Nintendo 64.
Oh, wow. Does it still work?
Oh, yeah. Wow. I also still have my Super Nintendo. You know, one of the things that you can watch on my YouTube channel is me playing the first world of Super Mario World.
Since we're on the subject, Dominica, can you please plug your YouTube channel so our viewers can watch?
If they're watching this right now, they have access to just clicking on the subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like, cool. This is only on my YouTube channel. But if they need the username, it's Dominica Creates. That's the username I have on other platforms. If you want to follow me anywhere, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, anyway. Then do you have something you want to say before I pull up?
Will you two be potentially getting a Switch 2 when it does come out down the line?
It took me until 2 years ago, was it? No, a year and a bit ago before I was it? No, 2 years ago before I finally got a Switch. And I only bought it when Pokemon Violet and Scarlet came out because I wanted to play Pokemon Violet. I wanted to get both of them so that I could trade Pokemon with my kids.
That's cool.
The kids had a Switch Lite before that, so we had a bunch of Switch games beforehand. But I don't like playing the handheld as much as I like playing and watching on the TV. So so I'm like, I'm not going to play on the Switch Lite, but my Switch is a Pokemon Violet and Scarlet Switch. Like, it's got all the Pokemon special designs and stuff on it. Like, that's just like my Game Boy Color is a Pokemon Pikachu Game Boy Color. Like, I'm such a nerd for this stuff. I love Pokemon that much. Did not play any Pokemon games between Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo 64 through until Pokemon Violet. I went backwards afterwards. After I did Pokemon Violet, I went backwards a little bit and did Pokemon Shield and Brilliant Diamond. But yeah, originally I did not do any Pokemon games between Gen 1 and Gen 9. So,
Mike, would you get a Switch 2 when it does come out eventually down the line?
No. I don't game. I'm not interested in video games. I like the culture of video games very much. Granted, I was just wearing or still am wearing a Mario Nintendo. I think this was specifically for Super Mario 3. Hey, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I have that same Mario as a doormat in my front door. I think I have it in a shirt too, actually.
I enjoy watching other people play video games. I don't enjoy playing them myself. It's just because I get so personally invested in like trying to beat the level, and then you don't beat the level and you have to play it all over again. And that level of frustration, just the anxiety, I don't like it. I'll play from time to time. We have one of those the NES minis that have like the 30 games pre-programmed.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the SNES. That's the one that we have. I'll queue it up and play a couple of games here and there every now and again, but it's so few and far between. I really want to play video games. I still
That makes sense. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, there's so many different styles of video games now that I don't know. I feel like there would probably be one that you would be into that would be in the style that
VR. I do enjoy VR.
Ooh. Interesting.
I very much enjoy VR.
Have you ever tried VR Sega? Is that what it's called? That Sega game that's quite popular?
The what?
VR Sega? Like when you're like a whole bunch of notes will come up and then you have to play the notes in the song.
Oh, okay. Saber. Yes.
Yeah.
Beat Saber.
Beat Saber. That's right. Yeah.
I love that game. Oh.
Yeah, I thought you would. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. There's this other game that I was obsessed with for a while. It's called Wilson's Heart. I eventually beat the game, but it's a black and white noir mystery, but it's intense, and there are parts that are actually quite scary. It's not designed to be scary, but just because you are in the game and it feels so real, virtual reality, it does get a little intense from time to time. But the whole concept is that you're this guy named Wilson, and the whole thing is narrated by Peter
Dinklage,
RoboCop.
Cullen, is that his name?
Nope. What can I do? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Peter Weller.
Thank you. The whole thing is narrated by Peter Weller. So like,
great voice.
The voice of Peter Weller is Wilson, who is you. So the story is that you wake up in this old-timey, like 1930s, 1940s hospital, and the roof has been blown off. This huge storm. It's old, it's dirty, and you are strapped to a table, and it's kind of a puzzle game. So you have to figure out like how do you get out of this table if your arms are strapped down. So and then as the story continues, you come to find out that like your heart had been removed, and now you have kind of like this orb, a mechanical ball in your heart where your heart should be, and so you're kind of on a quest to like find your heart, but also you find out that this mechanical orb does all these like magical things. And there's a bigger aspect to the game that I'm not talking about that's a huge reveal, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? But it's like you're in this dungy hospital trying to put together these clues, and it's so good. Just watch the trailer for Wilson's Heart.
Okay,
Wilson's Heart. It's so good.
I've not gotten into the VR stuff, but it makes me wonder if you would like the Life is Strange game.
Oh, Life is Strange is so good. So good, bro.
I've only played True Colors. I have some of the others as well, but I haven't played them yet. But Life is Strange, True Colors, it is a narrative, like decision-making kind of thing. So it's more story-based rather than, there's no fighting, there's no like levels.
It's already up my alley.
So check that out. I think it's on the Switch. So since Kim has a Switch, see if she would be.
What's it called again?
Life is
Strange.
And the one that I've played is True Colors, but they have some other ones as well. But look it up and see if there's any particular story that stand out to you.
By the way, I looked up the game that Daniel recommended, and it is. It's it is an N64 game, which is included in the online.
So she can have access to it. So get her the guide for that one, potentially. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
All right.
I love that one. It's it was good, and because it's decision based, like you can play it in different ways and make different decisions. I've only played it through once, but. It's an option. All right.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Better than a choose your own adventure book because you don't have to. What page am I up to now?
We've all been there.
So Netflix made, it wasn't a choose your own adventure brand, but they did a movie, an original movie that turned out to not be so great. That it was a choose your own adventure movie. How come we're not doing more of this?
I know.
This style of storytelling is so interesting, and the technology that we have available to us, we need to be doing more of this because it's an entirely new way of storytelling. But of course, like Netflix kind of fucked it up and they made like a really dumb, really dumb movie.
This was like Bandersnatch, wasn't it? The Black Mirror episode. Yeah.
Well,
I think I remember
there was
that,
but I think there was another movie that they did that had that same gambit. But
I can't remember if I watched it or not, but I remember hearing about it. I may have watched it. I just don't remember if I did or not.
Maybe I'm conflating it with Bandersnatch, but I thought there were two, but I don't know. Anyway, we need more.
Yeah, because you can say what you want about it critically, but if I remember it was trending for a long time when it came. It was a lot of people were watching it, using it. So yeah. So I mean, if anything else, it's only good for Netflix.
But they also didn't make it available for Apple TV Plus or like the Roku. You could only watch it on your personal device, which no one wants to watch a movie just like doing this.
Well, I remember watching it on my PlayStation, but yeah, like other than that, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, I'll pull up another couple of comments from Daniel here. So Sega used to do that back in the ancient days. I don't remember what we were talking about with this.
Oh no, I think it was the guides that they gave you for games.
They had what was called Sega Channel, and it ran through the cable company. $30, also the subscription, $30 a month with different categories of games and new ones each month.
Interesting.
I do remember what this comment was in response to. This is me saying I still have my Nintendo 64. So Daniel still has his sitting next to his PS2. My house is like an arcade. I unfortunately do not have my PS2 anymore because my ex-husband got rid of it when we got the PS3 because at the time you could also play PS2 games on the PS3. Now later versions of the PS3 did not do that. And our original PS3 broke. We had to replace it. Replaced it with one from Australia. So this is when we were living in Malaysia. Replaced it with one from Australia so we could still use the same PS2 games. But then I think I'm on my third or fourth PS3 at this point, and the one I have now was given to me as it was one of my friends. It was hers. She gave it to me after I sold her one of my spare PS4s that because I accidentally bought one when my ex-husband bought one for me, not knowing. Anyway, that's a whole story. So she gave me her PS3 when she wanted to get rid of it, and hers came from Canada. So like, there's no way that like I could, even if it had even if it was one that could take the PS2 games, which I doubt. I haven't tested it. I don't think it would have read them because of the NTSC PAL difference.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. So back in those days, nowadays it's fine.
Kids nowadays.
I know, right? Yeah, that's I don't need to pull up the other comments that are there because it's in response to other stuff that's not relevant here. So how are you feeling now? Do you still want another question? We've been rambling about video games. Or you want to go to bed?
Sorry, I was going through those other comments and I was like, wait, what? Sorry, what was the question?
Do you want another question? Or are you ready to wrap up the stream now?
One more.
Another one from the intimacy questions?
Sure, let's do it.
Sure.
Come on, Deck. All right, what's this one?
What time is it? Oh, it's 2:00 on the dot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, almost 3 p.m. for me.
What kind of 11 for me? That's the time that my phone goes on do not disturb mode. Anyway, what kind of power dynamics excite you? Do you have
equal?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's a weird one.
That's not a. Oh, okay. Let's skip that one.
Unless it's like an intimacy thing, then
it is an intimacy. But like, if you are just more into the equal stuff, I am too. Like my ex-husband was not. He definitely wanted me to be in the more submissive role, and he wanted to be the dominant figure, the authoritative person, which he would not like me saying authoritative because it was too close to authoritarian, and that would make him seem like a Nazi.
No. You call me Hitler? I'm not Hitler, baby.
It's not the same thing. You can be authoritative without being authoritarian. And anyway, let's move on to.
I don't drink orange juice because it sounds too close to orangutan, and I don't drink monkey juice.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
You understand, there are some white dudes that just get really butthurt about anything that might seem critical, and they just take things the wrong way. And I know that you are not one of those white dudes, Mike. That's why I can see.
You don't know me. You see my butt?
I've just made you butt hurt right now. Oh shit, man. Okay.
Has red paddle marks all over it.
That's the power dynamics you like.
Ow.
All right. Okay, so here we go. This is, I think, a quick one, but it does have an explain at the bottom. On a scale of 1 to 10, how
10.
You don't know the question yet.
Oh, okay, 5.
How comfortable are you with public displays of affection? And then explain.
20.
Yeah.
You love public displays of affection that much that you would go out and have sex in public. No, I don't think you would take it that far. I'm not imagining.
No, I mean, like, barring anything like grossly inappropriate, I'm all about it. Let people show their love for each other, and that's one of my biggest gripes with the heteronormative
standards.
Yeah, is that it's all one-sided. Like, you don't mind watching a
straight couple,
man and a woman,
a
straight couple making out on the sidewalk, but as soon as two dudes do it, you're all up in arms. You're like, oh, I don't have anything against gays, but that I don't want to have to see that.
It's pornographic to have to watch two men kissing.
Go fuck yourself.
Absolutely.
It's people who feel affection for each other. You don't have a problem with people watching you do it, so why do you have a problem watching other people do it? Just let people be people. I'm very comfortable in who I am. I'm very comfortable in my sexuality. I'm very comfortable in how I am portrayed in the world, or how people view me in the world. So yeah, I don't know. That stuff doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I like, for me, it's not really an issue. I mean, like, I still have this memory. We're in a nightclub in Malaysia, where it was literally like there was this couple pretty much just dry humping in the middle of an empty dance floor. And I remember this just going, he's got poor technique, poor form. But like, other than that, we didn't care. So I mean, as long as it's not like, let's say, around kids, and you're not getting a hand eaten by kids, whatever. So
there's certain places where and circumstances where it's appropriate, like kissing in public, not a big deal. Dry humping in public in front of kids, maybe not so much. I
mean, it's just common sense, though, isn't it? So
yeah. Sorry, this is reminding me of that rom-com that I told you about. I think it was last week that I was telling you about it. The +1 one. and there's a a scene in a cemetery, and I'm just like, they're so gonna get caught. They're so gonna get caught. Anyway, I'm not going to give you spoilers in case you guys do watch it, but
Cool.
My answer, I would say I'm probably about an 8. So I don't think I would be comfortable with like too extreme, but I do like public displays of affection. And what's coming up for me thinking about this question is, again, coming back to my relationship with Lee. He, when we were first together, I remember just being all giddy when we were holding hands in public, like going to see a movie. I was like, oh, he's fine with holding my hand. And then we were going to see a movie in this mall where someone that we knew worked nearby, and he like made a comment. It's like, oh, you know, this person works near here. And I'm like, oh, are you worried about like him seeing us? And he's like, oh no, don't worry. Like, I'm sure it's not going to happen. And if he does see us, then I'll just like pull my hand away and pretend that nothing happened. I'm like, okay. But then like later on, we didn't get caught being lovey-dovey with each other in public, but we did get caught having dinner together by somebody who had a massive crush on him. And after that, like, he became a little bit more concerned about us being, you know, PDA in public. So he held back from that. And like, we never like kissed in public or anything like that. So when it came time when we got back together and he took me to the airport, just like just after we'd like just hooked up again, and he took me to the airport and he gave me a kiss goodbye at the airport. I was like, you're actually like changing, and like you're actually okay with doing this in public. I was so like overjoyed that was something that he was comfortable doing then. But yeah, it's nice when it feels comfortable and right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh.
All right, we have some other comments.
Next
here.
episode.
My dad, I don't know what my dad was responding to for there might be a market for me, but I don't know what that was in response to. Daniel says, considering I've gotten busy on church grounds and other public places, pretty comfortable. I'm already going to hell, so it's okay.
Fair dues.
I can't say that I have gone that far. I've kissed in a church at my wedding. Does that count?
Okay, so this brings up kind of a larger concept, a larger question. Is the act of coitus disrespectful in the house of the Lord?
I would say probably. I don't think that I could do it.
I wouldn't say it's disrespectful per se, but I think it's the way other people might interpret that if you do that in that situation. So right.
I mean, context is everything, right? But I don't.
Jesus is watching you.
Say what?
Jesus is watching.
He's always watching. Yeah. Side note, it's the weirdest thing. Sharad, you might have a little insight into this as well. But like the first time I masturbated after my dad died, I was just like, oh, he's watching. He knows.
I've definitely had.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
I've definitely had those thoughts with my mum, like worried about, like even when I like got married, like, is my mum going to catch me having sex with my husband, or like, you know, those kinds of. It's like yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's you always have that notion. Okay, like so and so has passed away, they'll always be with me, and then when knocking one out. Like you're like, oh shit! Like come on, like go outside. I get you.
But yeah, I don't think that having sex on church grounds necessarily is a sacrilegious thing. I don't think it's a disrespectful. Obviously, depending on context, sure. But like, if you're caught up in the moment and like no one's around, and you know that like no one's gonna walk in on you, it's especially if you're the kind of person that invites God into your bedroom anyway.
True.
I don't know. I can't see it myself. I don't know. Maybe that was the way I was raised. It just doesn't seem like the place.
Oh, I'm not saying that I would do it.
I penciled it into my Google Calendar this time next week. So yeah.
Imagine doing it in one of those confession booths.
The best place to do it.
At least there's a door.
I disagree. That's a really
it's tight squeeze, right? Tight squeeze.
That's what she said.
But you know, I've done the shower, so you know.
We've all done the shower. It is not my favorite.
Depends on the size of the shower.
Has nothing to do with the size of the shower. So for me, shower sex has everything to do with not being able to breathe. So like the warm steam? Hot air in there and the steam, I can't even be in the shower for long periods of time anyway.
Okay.
I pass out. And I just can't breathe.
I think shower is better than bath.
Yes.
Due to differences in lubrication styles.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my dad is back. So he's listening to this now. Yeah, he came late only to leave again and return. Busy day.
Welcome back.
When he came earlier, it was not the best of time for him to have come in. But anyway, and Daniel says, Jesus, he likes voyeurism.
I mean, he sees everything, right?
He does.
My dad says lots of people don't work on themselves, don't recognize their stuff relating to needing to work on self. Kind of like my reaction to Daniel's comment, my insecurity at being a good parent, me reacting to oversharing. Yeah, well, it's my dad's decision to pop in, and he's aware that I may talk about him on the stream. So anyway, that was obviously reference to the funny stuff that came before. But anyway, Daniel says, but is it really sacrilege if she was on her knees and screaming God's name? I mean, that kind of touches on what Mike said, right? With the, you know, if you're the kind of person that's inviting God into the bedroom anyway.
Just saying.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. All right, I guess, are you guys I'm ready to do some wrap up stuff. I'm gonna plug we have, I mean, we'll probably do this again next week, but the following week we may do this again, but we're also going to, I did schedule the live stream discussion for romantic comedies, and that is coming up in the US time. It's on President's Day. If you're not American and have no idea when President's Day is, because why would you?
Monday the 17th.
It's Monday the 17th. If you're in a different time zone like Sharad, where it's Malaysia, then it would be Tuesday the 18th. But it is currently listed on my YouTube channel, so you can just go to the channel's main page and click the notify me button, see when it's actually live in your time zone. Join us to hear us talk about rom-coms, romantic comedies, how they've influenced us, our favorites, what we don't like, all of that kind of thing. I am so looking forward to discussing rom-coms with you guys.
Yeah, man.
Really excited. So for the thumbnail picture for that, I literally pulled off all of the rom-coms off of my DVD and Blu-ray shelves, and then also included the 3 that I had checked out from the library at the time, and took a picture of them and put that in the thumbnail.
You can't even tell. You not told me. I wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, because that's how much of a movie nerd I am and how many romantic comedies I have. I'm pretty sure I pulled off everything that I had on my shelves at the time. So
what about The Hobbit? You never included The Hobbit in your rom-com category.
Is that a rom-com?
Well, there's a whole sub-story about how Evangeline Lilly and Mr. Handsome Dwarf Man fall in love against all odds because they come from 2 different races, and that is forbidden.
I guess I've completely forgot about that. But there were some that I was like looking at my shelf and was like, is this classified as a rom-com? Hey Google, is this like, what genre is this movie classified as? And then sometimes it would be like, it is 10 genres. It says 10 genres listed, and it would only tell me the first 3, and sometimes it wouldn't include romantic comedy. I'm like, hey Google, is this movie considered a romantic comedy? And then it would be like, yes. Like, so yeah, if anyone's curious about why some may have ended up in there, and but I think I have some straight romance movies, like as in they're just classified as romance, not, I mean, they're probably straight as in heterosexual as well, but that wasn't what I was intending by using that word. I do have some movies that are romance without the comedy, and I didn't include those because you need to have the comedy part. And yeah, I'm super excited. I will probably tell you guys about some of the Australian ones. I mentioned Paperback Hero earlier in the stream. That's a really good Australian romantic comedy. But my absolute favorite Australian romantic comedy is Dating the Enemy, which is a body swap rom-com with
Freaky Friday.
Yeah, but with Guy Pearce, who I'm sure you guys must be familiar with because he's American stuff, and Claudia Carvan, who I mentioned, who is also in Paperback Hero. Love her so much. But that was the first movie I saw her in, was Dating the Enemy, and I was like, she's so phenomenal. Like, because they have to like do the opposite gender like mannerisms and stuff and play. It's so hilarious. I love it. Any chance I have to show it to somebody, I do. But hard to get a hold of, so like I make people come and watch it with me.
True romance.
Yes, sir.
So that's coming up. As I said, we'll do this again next week probably. We've been doing it Thursday nights, so we'll probably do it unless anything changes and someone's not available.
Next Thursday, I will be preparing for a funeral.
Ooh, well then we cannot do that. So look out on the channel to see when next week ends up being available. Maybe Mike will not be available at all next week, and then we'll just work things out and see who else is available to join. But yeah, just keep your eye out on the channel for that. And if you have watched after the fact and you've stayed through to the end, thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to ask us a question that we can answer on the next live stream, drop that in the comments.
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, buddy.
And we'll bring it up. And yeah, hope to see you all again soon. And hope you have a good weekend, week.
Bye-bye.
All of that stuff. Bye.